go. We're joined by a special guest.
Oh my goodness.
The Chaz and Helen. Helen's doing great. She looks awesome today.
Always looking good.
And here we go.
Oh.
What movie is that from, Chaz?
Oh God.
You're a young man. You should know this one. Come on.
I
didn't say the voice properly, but he's got makeup on, played by Heath Ledger.
Oh, Joker?
No, The Dark Knight, but I mean, I guess I'll give you fucking a D on that answer.
Well, no, I'm saying like the character.
It was the Joker. Yeah, I asked you what movie. Either way, Chad, you're not a movie guy. You're too young to be a movie guy. Anyways, Mal says, I gave you content already. Batman, Dark Knight. Silent got that one 100%. Yeah, come on, Chaz. I said, you know what? He's not here for the movie. He's not here for the movies. He's not here for the movie stuff. He's here for fantasy and the fantasy. So Mouth did kind of give us some content in terms of the trade he made. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Yeah. I want to talk about this silent comment here. Thoughts on Javonte versus Kenny Walker. Who is a better pick? The only format I'd say Javonte Williams is standard. I could make an argument for Javonte Williams in standard, but no one should play standard.
Yep.
Half PPR, it's a little closer, but it's still Kenny Walker. Full PPR, it's not even close. Javonte will catch some passes, maybe 35, maybe 45. Kenneth Walker should catch 50 or 60 balls, like minimum.
Yeah, I mean, just also in terms of, I mean, as you said, PPR is going to be heavily favored towards Kenneth Walker. Just signing that new deal. I expect wheels up over there in KC.
Yeah, I actually was going to talk pretty in depth about Kenneth Walker when we get to the rankings, because he's pretty low on. We're doing Fantasy Pro ECR, Fantasy Pro ECR rankings. So we're going to talk about all the tiers and where we would have these guys and kind of create our own tiers out of this. Give me a great show. We already did quarterbacks. We did tight ends. Those were fine. You know, this is the juicy shit. This week, today is running backs. Next week's wide receiver. Big stuff here. We have Kappa in here. He says, hello from the basement closet. And how do you guys, if I don't get that reference, but you actually, Kappa, you had a big basement, but it was kind of a closet. Kind of a dungeon, but it was our dungeon, and that's where we recorded the first 120 pods. Also, announcement to make on Monday, Chaz, is the 5-year birthday of the channel. 5 years,
really,
from the first episode ever. Also, Sunday, the day before, that's Kappa's birthday, 38th birthday for Kappa. I want to wish Kappa happy birthday, and then
happy
the channel,
birthday, Kappa.
You know. Monday, 5 years is a big number. You know, it's not 10, but it's like it's like starting a small business. When you start a business and it makes it past like 2 or 3 years, it should succeed. Usually they fold before that. So YouTube channel, especially like the first year, most of them just quit, and I never quit. So hell yeah, Derek's saying Chaz
every night,
Shamrock. Let's hope. Oh, every night especially. Let's hope Kenneth Walker can stay healthy. He better. I mean, because they don't got much behind him. I'm a big Emmett Johnson guy. Let's wait on the running back talk. I have a couple things to get to per usual before we get into the running back tiers. Let's start with a stat of the day, and this one is Did I load it up? I'm an idiot. Here it is. I did. So kickers. First of all, what are your thoughts on kickers, Chaz? Do you like having kickers in your league, or are you indifferent, or do you hate them?
I do not like having them in my league. I don't like having defenses in my. I mean, defense is better. I can see why people want defenses, but in all the leagues I do, I don't have any kickers. I'm very, very happy not to have that, because I think a lot of it is just kind of BS luck, and some teams are better, have better kickers, and more so kickers that are going to get 2 more points. But at the end of the day, it's all about luck, and that is, I mean, yes, that is fantasy football, but
not luck. There's strategy
to come down to a kicker, scoring 20 or 25 on someone.
Anyways, I have a graphic here which shows that we're in the era of like the steroid era. Remember the steroid era in baseball? This is a steroid era for kickers, because this graphic right here is 55 plus made field goals, 55 plus yard made field goals, regular season playoffs starting in 2000. In 2000, we had 1. 2001, 3, and it was all single digits, like 4, 3, 2, 4. And then it starts to have an uptick there in 2010 into the teens. And the last 3 years, 49, 46, and 55. That means that every team is making at least essentially 2, but it's mostly on like the 4 or 5 best kickers that are making 7 apiece, and the kicker points, like we might have to adjust the kicker points, how baseball in the steroid era, like kind of like change the ball. Like, we got to do something because this is automatic. Like 50 yards.
Yeah.
It's essentially like a 40-yard field goal now. It is unreal.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the days where it was 50 plus, and unless you had the best kicker in the league, you really weren't giving it a try. And I don't know. I feel like the NFL might have to do something to, I don't know, try and prohibit, or I wouldn't say prohibit, but just make it harder. Just make it harder, because it feels like now, especially with Aubrey, I mean, shoot, he can kick it from 60 plus. I won't say easily, but he can definitely do it.
And Little on the Jags is probably the best example. He, like, Aubrey's a better kicker and he's more accurate, but like Little has a bigger leg. Like, they can literally try 70 yards with this guy. And you mix that with the new kickoff rule where you can, you know, if you do get a touchback, you're on the 35-yard line. You literally need like 15 yards to get in Little's field goal range, which it's great theater though for these games, because like no lead is safe. You're gonna get a lot more overtime games. It is exciting. Like, it is exciting. Take the fantasy aspect out of it. To see a guy try a 70-yarder, it's just fun. It's just fun because we grew up in an era, at least I grew up in an era where, you know, right before I started watching football was the Bills fiasco, when, you know, that it was a 41-yarder that cost them a Super Bowl. And like, that was pretty far back then, especially in conditions. It was in New York, I believe, the Super Bowl. But like 41 yards is like literally an extra point now. It's a chip shot. Like, they make that easy, dude, like 90%.
Yeah, I mean, I just go back to the double doink in 2018. It was like now you have a 43-yarder to win. You're jumping up and down for joy for that, you know.
You know what's funny is I don't bet a lot of lines, but when I do bet a line, like specifically I put it in like a parlay or something. When I need the kicker to make it, I get so nervous. I'm like, this guy's gonna fuck me. But when I'm against, when I need him to miss it, I'm like, I know he's making this. Yeah. So it's I don't know. It's entertaining. I figured I'd bring this up because this is alarming. Like, this is crazy. And if it continues to trend the way it is, and you talk about sports science and these guys training, you know, from a younger age to become a kicker, it's not just like converted soccer players anymore. It's guys who are like been training for this shit since middle school. And man, we might see like 70-yarder be the new 60-yarder. And if that's the case, like, it's going to be unreal. Like, we have to do something, because we might have 80-yarders attempted where it's like you get a touchback and you're already in field goal range. Like, not you're going to make it, but you can at least get the ball there. And I also like the Hail Mary. I don't want to lose the Hail Mary for football, because that shit's amazing too. Let's move on to some news. I have one concerning news item that I'm curious to see what you think of it, because a guy I've been drafting a lot. This is concerning for Jets fans.
Guys, I've got news. I've got terrible news.
Oh, so this is exactly what I wanted a vacation from.
There are 2 guys in this church that are gay.
Who's the other guy?
I don't get the joke.
Yeah, he's never gonna understand.
What's wrong with that?
So we've all been assuming Braylon Allen's the fucking handcuff, and I've been drafting that way in DraftKings, but Isaiah Davis has been really good in his career. Yep. And the Athletic Zach Rosenblatt reports Isaiah Davis is the early favorite for the Jets' backup running back job. I'm taking this report, and you let me know what you think about it. I am taking this report as, if Breece Hall gets hurt, Isaiah Davis goes into the Breece Hall role. I feel like this doesn't hurt Braylon Allen's floor in terms of, you know, week-to-week floor. He's probably still the goal line back and the short yardage back. He should be. He's 250 pounds. But Isaiah Davis has been way better than Braylon Allen in his career. Like 5.6 yards per carry, it says. Braylon Allen's 3.9. And 5.6, to 3.7. And, you know, Isaiah Davis doesn't have the draft capital that Braylon Allen has. He's not the blue chip player Braylon Allen was. But Isaiah Davis is one of those he's just a try-hard, coach's pet. Like, you know, think of like an Austin Eckler type with a little more power. That's what I see Isaiah Davis as. So is he going to have a role? If he has a role, like, fuck Breece Hall, dude. If this is a 3-way committee on the Jets, I am out on Breece Hall in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I mean, as a Breece Hall owner, I don't know how to really take that news. Obviously, it's not something I would want to hear if there is a committee there. But I mean, it is hard to not like a guy who is, I mean, a bowling ball as well as, or no, I'm sorry, that's whatever. But it's just a coach's pet and just works his ass off. You know, that's a guy you're never gonna fade. And obviously, when you're not drafted as high as some of the other guys in that room, you have to stand out some other way. You know.
So Is this more concerning? Is this concerning for both guys? Obviously, Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. Who is it more concerning for you? I know Braylon Allen isn't drafted very high, but we drafted him in the handcuff range in redraft. We're drafting him for our RB5, RB6 in best ball under the assumption that he would have a 60% workload. We know Isaiah Davis would be involved, but is this really concerning for Breece Hall for you, right? Like if he's the early favorite for a backup, and we know that Braylon Allen's going to get possibly the short yardage down, at least some of the short yardage work. Like, where does this leave us with Breece Hall? Is it a 60% share of this backfield? If they're going to split it 3 ways.
I mean, it's just it would just be something I'll be worried about. It's I mean, as I've said week in and week out, I always take these kind of reports with a grain of salt. You know, things can always change during the season, and we'll just have to wait and see. It would obviously worry me. It wouldn't be, you know, setting butterflies in my stomach in a good way. It'd be more so in a bad way. But I would maybe obviously want to kind of fade him just a little bit. I want to totally go out of my way and just fade him altogether. But it would definitely make me worry a little bit about selecting him.
All right, we'll chat more about Breece Hall when we get to the running back rankings. Victor says, hey, guys, huge fan. What's going on, Victor? Who's a better prospect and who will be a better running back down the line, Genty or Jeremiah Love? Me and Storey talked about this a couple days ago, and he said Genty. He thinks Genty's a better prospect than Jeremiah Love. What is your answer?
Oof, oh, God. Better prospect. I'm going to go... Holy crap, that's a pretty tough question. I'm going to go Genty just because of the guy was an absolute bowling ball at Boise State. Almost had the rushing record. Obviously, I think same as Jeremiah Love on that Heisman finalist, but yeah, I think it's got to be Genty over J Love. It's a tough decision, but I think it's got to be Genty.
I think Genty's the higher floor player. I think that his range of outcomes for his career is more narrow, where the injury stuff does not seem to be an issue with him. He's a monster. The concern is, you know, last year's film was pretty good. His stats are pretty good on a really bad team. The concern is, you mentioned Boise State. And yes, he lit the world on fire at Boise State. Yeah. We have yet to see Jeremiah Love in the NFL, but Jeremiah Love dominated at Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame picks and chooses their schedule. We understand that. It's still a step up in competition from what Genty had. I think that Jeremiah Love has a higher ceiling because the pass catching, and Genty's a great pass catcher too. Jeremiah Love is a sports car, you know, and he's big enough to be a 3-down back. And, you know, Genty is solid at some breakaway runs. He's electric, but he's not as explosive as Jeremiah Love. And Jeremiah Love's upside is Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm trying to think of a comp for Ashton Genty's upside. Is it Saquon Barkley? I mean, because he's not quite like Saquon Barkley is a freak athlete. He's not Saquon Barkley. He's got that body.
He's not Saquon, but yeah, the body type. I can definitely see that. I was going to compare him more, Jeremiah Love, more to Bijan than I would to Gibbs, but I would just see if that's what you were also kind of thinking.
Well, Bijan is the best running back in football. So I'm not as high on Jeremiah Love. I'm not as high as either of these guys as a prospect. They're really good prospects, but neither of these guys are Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is closer to the Adrian Peterson tier for me, just because the contact balance we've seen, the pass catching, like it's better than both these guys in that regard. And, you know, he's not quite the power back that Genty is. He's not quite the speed merchant as Jeremiah Love. He's kind of in the middle of those two guys, but he has the best parts of both their games. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love for upside play. I love Genty. If it was a dynasty startup, I think I want Genty over him because I think I have more hope that the Raiders turn this shit around than the Cardinals. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Cardinals have quarterback questions. We don't know. I think they might be better than people think this year. It might be out of the top 5 for the draft. Now you're looking at taking the 3rd or 4th quarterback prospect. Like Mendoza, at the very least, a high floor quarterback. That's a professional quarterback. And Tom Brady in there. Like Tom's going to make this work. I have faith. This is not a Michael Jordan owning the Bobcat situation. Like they're going to be decent, you know, and they're both stuck in really tough divisions. So it's a great question, man. I appreciate the comment. Let's get back to the top of the comments here, answer a few more, and we'll get on to the running back ranks. Let's see here. Jonathan lost a matchup last year to that 50-yarder Aubrey hit with like 19 seconds left when Dallas is down by 7. That's a rough one. That's what I hate is when they kick unnecessary field goals. And that's even worse, though, in betting when like you have lines and a team kicks a field goal unnecessarily. That's the game, though. And I know people want to take out kickers. And they're like, let's just add a flex. You know what I do? I already have that added flex, and I want the kicker in defense. And like when you have 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and 2 flexes, quarterback and tight end, it shouldn't even come down to kicker. If you draft your team right, I know it's a 1-week sample, but if your team performs, the kicker won't fucking matter because you're going to blow this dude out 200 to 160. So I just like having another option, and I like streaming kickers. It's a passion of mine. It's a hobby of mine. Nothing makes me happier and more erect than when I fucking stream a kicker and he has 4 field goals and 2 extra points and gets me 19 points. Fucking love that shit. Same with streaming defenses, right? When I streamed the fucking Jaguars defense 3 years ago and they're a bad defense and I get a pick 6 in the first quarter, I am just, my nips are hard, man. That's the way I want to fucking win because that's an edge we can have, right? It's streaming because other people are like, oh, I want to lock up Aubrey. I want to lock up the Seahawks defense this year, and they pay like a 12th round price for him. No. I'm not doing that. I am drafting. I drafted Seahawks defense everywhere last year, and I ended up getting, I think 70% of the Seahawks, and I wrote them all year long, man. And like I drafted them in the last round. They were not drafted last year, particularly because they played the Niners week 1, and people were like, that's a bad matchup. We don't believe in this defense. I saw what I did in the draft. I like drafting a defense that has a late, like a nice week 1 or week 2 or week 3 matchup, all those first 3 weeks. And then I just recycle them, if it doesn't work out.
Do you have a defense? Do you have a defense this year that you're kind of looking at as?
That's a good question. No, I haven't looked into it yet because I haven't done a redraft and I haven't really done any of that prep. I'll start doing that here in a couple of weeks. And I have a target. Last year, my target was the Seahawks.
I was going to say, I haven't drafted defense in a while, so I know I'm in another league with you. I don't know if that league has defenses and kickers. I guess I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that before we draft that team.
Silent saw the double doink in person. You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Silent was there, and I was there. I guess so we got to experience that together.
Imagine Messi as a kicker.
Ooh.
You're pretty good.
Actually, different. I mean, same subject, but imagine Ronaldo. Doesn't he kick it harder? I think Ronaldo kicks it harder.
I'm a man. I don't watch soccer, so sorry. Blake. Love you, Blake. Shout out, Blake, to media manager on the channel. Appreciate you, Blake. Kappa says Jets in general are scary with Glenn still there. He may pull off some stuff thinking he is smart. Well, hopefully he's just sleeping. That's what I want. I want him to be sleeping all these games, and then he can let the coordinators do their jobs because Aaron Glenn's terrible. You know what the upside, though? I was talking about this the other day. The upside of the Jets right now, their offense it is for fantasy, is that Aaron Glenn, he's the head coach, which I hate, but he's not the offensive coordinator, and he's a defensive coordinator. He's a terrible defensive coordinator. This defense got better. They brought in a lot of veterans. Demario Douglas is their middle linebacker who's like 37. They're going to be better this year. But he's still at the helm calling this defense. He's bad. So this defense is still going to be bottom 10 in my mind, which is good for the offense, right? Gino can shut up. He can sling it, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be basically where the Cardinals were probably last year, where you can just chuck it and sling it, and you're going to be down all the time, so you can take those risks. You're going to want to move the ball, have explosive plays, and just see what can happen.
Scott Norwood's miss was 47 yards. Thank you, Derek. What's up, Derek? I thought it was 41. 47 is actually really, really far back then. It was an outdoor game. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was in New York, right? Outdoor game in the Super Bowl. His long for that season was 48, and he was 6 of 10 from 40 yards. So, like, in reality, they kind of screwed him. Like, I don't know the exact circumstances. Like, remember last year, the game with the Ravens at the end of the year against the Steelers where they took a knee? Yeah. And they had time on the clock. They could have ran it with Henry and got 5 more yards, and so they lost 2 yards, and then the rookie kicker ended up missing it. Like, I don't think it was a situation like that, but always get the extra yards. If you fumble trying to get the extra yards, you don't deserve to win the game in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, stop putting pressure on these kickers, dude, because a game-winning kick is different than a kick in the first quarter. A kick in the Super Bowl is different than a kick in week 3, And, like, these guys aren't robots. As much as we want to make athletes robots, they're fucking humans. And some guys, unless you're, that's why Justin Tucker was, aside from the legal stuff, the guy's a clown, apparently. Good opera singer, too. But he was clutch as hell. Vinatieri, but Justin Tucker was better when it mattered. You know what I mean? These guys just never miss in the clutch. But I just named you 2 guys. Like, how many more guys are there like that? I could name a lot more that are the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more. I mean, shoot, I remember that Cody Parkey season. We'd be praying.
Remember Mike Vanderjack, the liquored up kicker that Peyton Manning fucking hated? For a couple of years, I had an old league that I commissioned. I called it Mike Vanderjack's Flask. And remember the Pro Bowl interview where he's like, we got a liquored up kicker running his mouth. And then Vanderjack was never the same after that. He was a great kicker, but that dude, you know what? You're a kicker. Like, just please shut up, Vanderjack. Just shut up. Peyton Manning's your quarterback. Just kick fucking field goals.
Good. Tell me everything.
Okay, they were both here. They were both inside me. Eduardo was in my mouth and Luther was in my butt.
Oh my God, no, don't tell me everything. What? No, what? Damn it, Bonnie. Eduardo who?
Sanchez.
Holy shit, tell us more.
Then Luther went in Eduardo's butt for a while.
Tell us less. Tell us less.
Then they both completed on each other. I was left out of the finale.
Which bottom 10 offense can you see surprising us this season? So last year, the both Super Bowl teams were, I'm guessing, bottom 10 offenses because they were both projected 7.5 wins, or that was Vegas projection. You have a name off the top of your head? I have one, and the Jets could be that answer. The Jets could be, but I don't want to go with the Jets. So do you have a name? Bottom 10?
I don't know if people think this is bottom 10, but just in terms of what they did last year, I would go to the Vikings.
Ooh, yeah. Because they were definitely bottom 10 last year. They're probably in like the 12 to 15 range, but that's a fair one. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I've been drafting a lot of Brissett. Their defense is horrendous. Like, it's horrendous. They lost their 4th round pick, their defensive tackle they drafted. Like, they didn't really address the defense. I like Walter Nolan. I think he's solid. He's a 2nd-year player. He can be a difference maker, but again, he's a defensive tackle. Like, those guys aren't impact players as much as an edge rusher or an elite corner. Their secondary is garbage. Their schedule is really hard. They have to play all those games against the Rams, Seahawks, and Niners. And I get those are good defenses, but like the Cardinals are garbage time merchants. And like, we're just looking at a bottom 10 offense that can score points. I don't care about efficiency and turnovers and shit like that. They were a top 10 offense with Brissett, right? At least points per game. They had to be because they were losing every game. Like, they lost every game like 48 to 28.
It was pretty much 48 to or 50 something to like 25 plus. So yeah, I mean, I won't be surprised. But what's going on with Brissett? Is he holding out, or is he?
So he's scheduled to make like $3 million this year, which is it's super low, even for a good backup. That's low.
Yeah,
that's low.
It should be.
And I think it was a GM came out today and said that they need to pay him, and they need to meet in the middle because Brissett probably wants 12 or 15 a year. They probably want to pay him 7. Give him 10 million, dude. If he's gonna be your starting quarterback, and you don't want to go with Carson Beck, okay? You don't want to rush Carson Beck because if they have hope for Carson Beck, what you don't want to do is start him off this season with those division games against the Rams and Seahawks. No bueno, dude. So they just got to pay the guy. What's $10 million, man? Big deal. He earned it last year. $10 million
to them. He definitely earned it.
Bucky Irving or Xavier Worthy? I mean, this is pretty easy, Bucky Irving. And it's also weird because it's a cross-position thing, but in any situation, it's Bucky Irving. Although we love Xavier. I love Xavier Worthy. I think you're pretty warm on him as well.
Pretty warm on him. I'm also very low on Bucky this year, but I would still definitely take him here over Xavier Worthy.
This is an interesting one that's been brought up in the show many times before. What are your thoughts on people in standard redraft leagues who bench their defenses to secure a W? What do you got, Chaz?
I don't mind that. Now, I personally, I've seen people do it. I think I maybe did it once or twice back when it was, back when I still played in those kind of leagues. But normally if I mean, shoot, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I mean, some people don't like it, but I don't mind it because it's just confirming a win. It's confirming a win on a Sunday night or a Monday night.
So the goal in fantasy is that, I know it's fantasy football, to make it like replicate the NFL. And what do teams in the NFL do week 16, week 17? They rest their players. They don't care about winning, and sometimes they're playing a team that's a potential playoff team, screws over another team. That's all is fair in love and war, and all is fair in NFL and fantasy football. So unless you have a rule in your bylaws, which, again, if you have an issue with that, if someone has an issue with that, put it in the bylaws. You have to field a full team, right? You can't start an injured player, and you definitely can't bench your defense. If that's in the rules, the league rules, then yes, that's illegal, and it's definitely frowned upon. I understand that.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. I've done it many times, dude. I've done it many times. I'm not doing it. You know what? Early in the season, though, most people won't do it because it will cost you points, and points sometimes are tiebreakers. So, like, it's a rare situation. At the end of the year, yeah, it's an option. And if I have the option to do that, if it means losing or winning the game, I'm never starting a defense. Get the hell out of here. Yeah. Never, ever, ever, ever. So the way to get ahead of this and make this not be an issue is put it in your rules, right? You have to field a full team, and then you can't do it, or you have to forfeit that week. So that's the easy answer. I think it's frowned upon. I think it's kind of lame, but I also think it's awesome. Like, I see both ends of it. Like, I'm playing to win. So yeah, that's the bottom line. We're playing to win.
Completely agree.
Sir Danish, should I trade Carnell Tate and A-Chain for Saquon in redraft? I want Tate and A-Chain. I'm a big Marco guy, but
I feel like A-Chain's too low on. I know we haven't talked about any rankings yet, but the couple that I've been looking at, I feel like he's been just shoved down there a little bit for no reason.
I mean, the bottom line is, if it's like standard, maybe not, but who plays standard? But in even half PPR, like A-Chain and Saquon go within 4 picks of each other. Carnell Tate's a 5th-round pick. Like, I don't like Tate that much. I really don't love A-Chain this year unless it's full PPR. And I love Saquon. Doesn't matter. You're getting 2 for 1. So, and you can just make another trade after that and make it better. Like, this is a clear W for you. I don't know why someone would do that personally.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, actually.
Aubrey played soccer at the rival high school to the school I coach at. He never played football after becoming a pro soccer player. Oh, you know what? It's a nice, easy transition, right?
Yeah. Kicking the ball or kicking a football.
It's way off on this Bills thing, apparently. I'm just talking about Tampa, Whitney Houston's iconic national anthem. You know what? I'm showing my age a little bit here because I was fucking 4 when that happened. That was like 92. I'm probably wrong on that too. I'm gonna stop talking about the Bills fucking Super Bowl here. Scott Norwood. I watched the documentary. I know all about it, but you know what? Sometimes it's been a long time. So been a long time. Gardner Minshew's there in Arizona as well. So I love Minshew. He's entertainment, he's theater, but he was fine early in his career. He was downright awful on the Raiders, and maybe that's because the Raiders were awful. But we saw Jacoby Brissett be pretty good in a pretty bad situation last year. He was actually okay with the Patriots, so that was like the worst roster in football. The Drake May's rookie year. So yeah, I'm on team Jacoby Brissett. He is one of my he's my most drafted quarterback on Underdog right now. I don't like it, but he's quarterback 30. It's like, even if he loses his job, I think he's gonna propel me to the playoffs in a lot of these leagues.
I mean, shoot, he's probably gonna finish better than QB 30 on the year, no matter what. And once again, you're just thinking about value of can he finish QB 20?
Do you know points per game last year in a 4 for a passing touchdown league in Jacoby Brissett starts? It was 7 starts, I believe. You know where he ranked in points per game for quarterbacks? Small sample, I get that, but
small sample, but he was probably top. He was probably QB1.
Quarterback 6. 18.8 points, dude. Josh Allen was like 21 or 22, but like he outscored Dak. I know Dak played the whole season. I'm just saying, like, he had 180 yards on the ground and 2 rushing touchdowns in 7 games. He was slinging the ball. I mean, the passing volume was insane. Bottom line is, the guy that was quarterback 6 last year in points per game, 7 games, is getting drafted at quarterback 30, and they added in Jeremiah Love. Yes, more rushing attack, more rushing stuff, but yeah. Hold on. I said I'm trading Carnell and A-Chain for Saquon. Yeah, that's what you said. That's what I said, right? Don't trade Carnell and A-Chain.
I was just saying, don't trade them away if you're trying to get Saquon. Keep those guys.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's trading what. Like Carnell Tate and A-Chain is too much for Saquon. We want the Tate A-Chain side of it. That's for sure. Like, I think that's like I don't know. You need to get like who would be a player that would make it fair? I know it's hard to just throw names out there, but like I would want almost like a Roma Dunze level player back. Because I want Saquon over A-Chain.
Yeah, I was going to go even a little bit lower and go like a DJ Moore kind of player there. I think that would be maybe because I feel like Rome would be too much there. Would he? I feel like Saquon and Rome.
That's probably too much. I want Saquon and Rome then. So maybe a worse receiver. DK Metcalf. Saquon and DK Metcalf. Carnell Tate and A-Chain makes it pretty fair. Yep. Good call from Jay here. If the purpose of fantasy is to replicate the NFL, how does PPR factor in? That's a genius comment because it doesn't, because you can have a negative 1 yard catch and get 0.9 points. That's a fact. Yeah. So, but playing standard is also bullshit because, a lot of times the touchdown score didn't really earn the touchdown. You get a guy that gets a 60-yard bomb and gets down to the 1-yard line, and then the quarterback, Jalen Hurts sneaks it in. This is not a slight against Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts touchdowns are not really earned. Not the same as Josh Allen earns his.
Oh,
and, a 1-yard running back plunge, like, get out of here with that shit. So this is the way to even out. I think PPR is pretty fair. PPR is probably a little bit. I think half PPR is probably the most pure form of fantasy football. I prefer PPR because I know I can predict volume much more than I can predict touchdowns. And we want the best player to win. Mouth wants a breakdown of his trade before we get to we got to get to the running back thing pretty quick. We're already 31 minutes into this. Nice intro. We like Jonathan's side of it. We understand why you did it, Mouth. In a vacuum, it's a totally fair trade. For you being a win now team, getting a first-round pick in 2028 does not make a whole lot of sense. Even though we love Derrick Henry, the trade was Derrick Henry, Jalen Coker, and a 2028 first-rounder for CeeDee Lamb. Now, our league is really deep, so having depth is huge. But you drafted CeeDee Lamb in the first round. Derrick Henry went in the 5th round of our startup. And it's full PPR. If this was half PPR all day long, baby, give me Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry is equal to CeeDee Lamb this year. But it's not. It's full PPR. CeeDee Lamb's a 110 reception player every single year. So I grade it like I give you a 6 to Jonathan and a 4 to Mouth. It's pretty close. 5 and 5 would be even. Pretty close.
I'm gonna go 7. I'd go 7-3. It's just because you know Mouth is gonna trade that first. I mean, yes, he gives him more flexibility to go and get a guy exactly who he wants, but once again, how many years does Henry have left? And CeeDee's gonna be a vital point in that offense for the next 4 years, probably. So
27, I think.
Yeah. So
28.
It's just hard to grasp, especially with where your team was at, Mouth. I don't know how I feel, or I don't know how I would, or if I would have done that trade if I was in your position. But you definitely gave yourself flexibility in getting that first, at least.
You know what, though? He's going to make us eat our words because he's probably has another deal in the works. He's going to trade that first and make his team better. So it's never over with Mouth, not in this Dynasty League. He's going to keep on making moves. Keep at it, buddy. You know what? We all laughed at your early picks, and you ended up having a pretty good team. So it's incomplete grade because all these trades should be incomplete anyway, especially when you have first rounders being thrown in there. All right, let's get to the quarterback tiers, guys. This is Fantasy Pros ECR. Running back. I'm all over the map. Running back tiers, Fantasy Pros ECR. We're going to go through here. This is full PPR. I just pulled up full PPR. So we have CMC at number 3 in the first tier. Bijan 1, Gibbs 2. I kind of understand in full PPR why Bijan, someone would put him at 1. I still have Gibbs even in full PPR. It's close. And half PPR, it's definitely Gibbs for me. But CMC, I know like when he's healthy, he deserves to be in this tier. And you could argue that CMC deserves to be at the number 1 spot because we did last year, 102 receptions. Is this fair to you? Are you fine with Bijan at 1?
Yeah. Bijan is going to be the 101 no matter what. It should be Bijan 1, Gibbs 2, and then I'm actually completely fine with CMC being in that tier. I know people are scared of the injury and other stuff, but when you catch over 100 balls in a year in a PPR format, especially as a running back, you're going to be top of the top. So I'm fine with those top 3 right there.
Yeah, I still have Gibbs at 1, but we all know this top tier. Let's just finish here with the first tier. CMC, what is me and Storey did this yesterday. We did the age cliff, like our panic meter. What is your panic meter on CMC's health, right? And not only just health in terms of playing all the games, he looked worse last year. He's coming off 450 touches. Now he's coming off that this year. Is it like a 7 for you? I think we both had it at 6 or 7, or maybe it was 5. Either way, it was kind of high.
I'm gonna go 5. I'm a little worried. Obviously, going into last year, I know, right? I remember before the weekend started, he got put on the injury report, and people were already like, "Oh man, he's gonna be out for the year, or something's gonna go wrong with him." And I feel like people are gonna be doing that once again, but even more heightened to where any little thing that happens, they're just going to, exaggerate that and just try and put him down as much as they can because they're just trying to look for, to be right on the fact that he's going to get injured. But now it's a 5 because I really think CMC showed it last year. He can handle a lot of touches. We'll see if he can do it again. I mean, we said it about Saquon, and then Saquon had a, kind of a down year last year. So once again, I guess we'll see, but it's hard to not rank a guy who had over 100 catches last year, not top 3.
I have I know a lot of you guys watched the show last night, but CMC, so he's missed. So if you take away the year he only played 4 games, right? Here's the years prior, the 3 years prior than last year. So dating back 2021, 17 games played, 16 games played. Then he played 4 in 2024, last year 17 and the playoff games. So he's only missed 1 game outside of that year, that lost year he had. So like essentially the weird thing about CMC is when he gets hurt, he misses like 70% of the season. Yep. When he's healthy-ish enough to play because the guy grinds through injuries, he plays every game, and it's not like you see a drop-off. It's not a Josh Jacobs situation. When Josh Jacobs is hurt, you saw what happened last year. His usage goes down, his effectiveness goes down, his explosiveness is zapped. CMC is like a Travis Kelce-level player that just like knows how to get it done because his value's in the receiving game, and it's PPR, right? He's going to score touchdowns and catch passes. He doesn't need to be breaking off 40-yard chunk runs. So I'm fine with CMC here. It's a risky pick. If someone wants to take JSN, I know it's a cross-position conversation. I'm not going to like hate on you for that, but I don't feel like JSN is going to be a league winner where you're drafting this year. If CMC is 90% of what we've seen in the past, he's going to be a top 3 running back. And yeah, you're like, that's drafting him at his ceiling, but the top 3, like he's so much ahead of the 4th running back. Yeah. And the only reason he's number 3 this year is because Gibbs now has the backfield to himself, and there's no Tyler Algier there. And Bijan Robinson's like the best running back in football. And those guys are in their prime, super young. Other than that, CMC, every other year, CMC would be number 1. Yeah. You know? So I'm fine with it. Let's move on to the second tier here. Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Genty, James Cook, Chase Brown, Devon Achane, and then Amarian Hampton at 9. Saquon is not in this tier. Kenneth Walker's not in this tier. So I want to start there at the bottom of this. I would extend this tier to Saquon and Kenneth Walker. And if you want to get even more micro with it, I would probably put Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Genty, and James Cook in their own tier, right? I know those guys, besides Genty, Taylor, and Cook, don't catch the most passes, but they are tried and true for rushing touchdowns, rushing yards. They're both in, Cook's in an elite offense. Jonathan Taylor is the offense. Yep. And Genty has, 70, 80 catch potential. So are you cool with that, with making a second tier of JT, Genty, and Cook?
Yeah, I'm definitely content with doing that. I mean, once again, you have a JT who is the offense. He's going into a contract year. Genty just got Kubiak. He also got that new center, right? Wasn't that from the Ravens?
Yeah, Linderbaum, highest paid center in football.
I mean, they're trying to beef that line up, and then obviously James Cook, that running attack in Buffalo with Josh Allen, and it just makes so much so much space having Josh Allen there, So. And those 3 are just miles ahead of, Brown, Hampton, and Achane, in my opinion.
How would you rank them, though, those 3 in particular? So we're going to put them in a second. The second tier is just going to be a 3-player tier, JT, Genty, and Cook. Genty has the upside here because if there's an offense take a step up, obviously, he's super young in his prime, like workhorse of workhorses. I'm not too worried about Mike Washington as a rookie. Is Genty in PPR? You can make an argument Genty should be 4. Right. And, JT and Cook are similar players. They both, what's weird is JT actually has a higher pass catching ceiling than James Cook. If we go off what we saw last year with Daniel Jones. But is this fair for you, or you think Genty should be 4?
I actually completely agree with you. I think Genty should be 4. I think he should be up there above JT. I mean, JT, once again, coming off a lot of touches. I know he is the offense, but I feel like Genty's also going to be getting a lot of opportunity and valuable opportunity this year. I think it's going to be almost wheels up, especially because, you're not going to have Mendoza start in those, first probably 10 to 12 games. You're going to have Kirk Cousins, who, looked rough when he did play, but
he checks the ball down a fuckload, though, dude.
That is also one thing. He checks it down, but he also can move the ball down the field, can create drives. He does have that football IQ, so I would definitely have Genty 4 here above Taylor.
All right, and the next tier is interesting. Or we're gonna call it the third tier, but it's still guys in this second tier. And I want to throw Saquon and Kenneth Walker in there. Yep, and then I think Derrick Henry should be in the discussion, but since it's PPR, I understand why he is a little below because his ceiling is capped. He needs to have 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns to really equal these pass catching younger running backs. But Chase Brown, Achane are both very similar, right? Obviously, you have Chase Brown in a much better offense, but Achane's a much better player than Chase Brown, but in a god-awful situation. Now, the usage should be great. Like, his opportunity share in this backfield and this offense is going to be through the roof. But how many plays do they run? How many touchdowns do they score? Like, that is a lot of concern there for Devin Achane. Seems like a floor play this year, even though it's wild to say a guy that's probably the second most explosive running back in terms of hitting home runs in the league outside of Gibbs, and an elite pass catcher is a floor play, but it's just based on the offense he plays in. So how would you rank these guys? You agree, though, Barkley and Kenneth Walker deserve to be in this tier?
Yeah, Barkley and Kenneth Walker definitely should be in this tier. I know earlier I said Devon Achane, I feel like he was getting shoved down, but obviously he was getting shoved down for good reason. I still have him over Chase Brown. I just think the usage there with the player that he is. I know it seems like, they're going to be might be having a lot of 3-and-outs, might be off the field a lot, but I still gotta trust Achane and one of the most explosive players in football.
Marion Hampton. We're gonna get to Barkley and Walker in a second. So me and Big Ray, mostly Big Ray, was yelling at me for a solid 15 minutes about Hampton. I'm not sold. I would love Hampton if he was going after Walker and Barkley. That's where I have him. I would definitely take Hampton over Jeremiah Love. In PPR, I can make the argument over Derrick Henry, although I probably don't want to get there yet. But Hampton above Barkley and Walker, Hampton next to Achane and Chase Brown, who are proven commodities in the league. And like Hampton played 9 games as a rookie. Yeah, he was a back-end first-round pick, but it's my thing is you have Keaton Mitchell, who is a Mike McDaniel guy. Like he targeted him specifically. He loves speed. Hampton's not a burner, but he's pretty fast. And then Kamani Vidal earned this. Harbaugh loves Kamani Vidal. He earned a role on third downs in this team. So what do you think, let's start here. What is Hampton's snap share this year? Like, give me if you were to play this season 10 times over, everyone stays healthy, what is his snap share this year?
I'd go 60-65. That's what I would say. I don't know
exactly
what
I think. Yes.
That's perfect.
That is not enough because I want to go through these other guys here. Chase Brown's going to play almost 80%.
Yep.
And have all the he's going to have all the goal line work, most of the goal line work, and all the pass catching work. He has Joe Burrow as his quarterback, and the field is wide open because T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are in this team. Devin Achane is their only offensive player. Like literally, like outside of us sickos, I'm talking about guys that actually know football. Maybe they haven't been paying attention too much. They can't name another player on the Dolphins offense. Like they don't even know. They're like maybe Greg Dulcich. They don't even know who that is. And the receivers are rough. Rookies, Jalen Tolbert, fucking Tutu Atwell. What are we talking about? So the opportunity share there is amazing. And then Saquon Barkley is a 78 to 80% snap share player, an opportunity share player. Kenneth Walker, they just paid giant money coming off Super Bowl MVP. He has Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I get Patrick Mahomes is kind of limited right now. That's going to help Kenneth Walker because Mahomes ain't going to be running 6 times a game like he has been. More checkdowns. Kenneth Walker's a much better player. Like O'Marion Hampton's goal for his career should be the player that Kenneth Walker is. I know Kenneth Walker's never really put it all together until this past year, but Kenneth Walker was a better prospect than Hampton out of Michigan State. He's been fine in the NFL. He's still only 25 years old, 26 years old. Like, what is Kenneth Walker's snap share this year to you think?
God, I mean, just getting off of Pacheco as well as the other things that are going on in their offense, I could easily see being 70 plus, which is exactly what you would want.
I was going to say 75, maybe 72. But, the Hampton lovers are going to say, well, Kenneth Walker's injury prone. Marion Hampton got hurt as a rookie. Like, he literally got hurt as a rookie. We saw him. I know it was a fractured ankle, and it's kind of like a fluky injury. But, like, they're ignoring the fact that he missed half his rookie year. And, like, Kenneth Walker's probably missed 9 games in his entire career. So they're more nagging soft tissue things. But it's just funny that the Hampton bros are just like the Henderson bros and the Ibuka bros last year. They refuse to, like, admit that there's downside to these players. They're just like, no, he's a starter. He's, like, not only a starter, he's a workhorse. Like, this is a top 5 offense. Like, they're not factoring in all the range of outcomes. And there's a chance that Hampton's only a high-end RB2, which is still fine. It's not fine where you're drafting him. So, I'm guessing you want Barkley and Walker over Hampton. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah, I mean, especially Barkley. I was going to say Barkley's down year last year. I feel like people would be ecstatic if Hampton got either that or above. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
and think about how fluky it was, dude. Think about it. So the offense went to shit. They were 22nd. The Eagles were 22nd last year in offense. Yep. And if you factor in the second half, they were probably 27th in the second half, which as much as we rip on Jalen Hurts in this program, he's better than that, dude. This team's proud. This offensive line is better than that. Saquon Barkley is an all-time player. And with all the stuff we talked about last year, he was coming off 450 touches. He looked a little bit limited in terms of, explosiveness. But Dallas Goedert had 13 fucking touchdowns. And, like, it wasn't like he was catching 30-yard bombs. They were little, like, shovel passes and gadget plays, and some of them were rushing touchdowns. Like,
oh, yeah.
If you just give Saquon 4 of those touchdowns, which probably should have happened in reality, now we're not talking about Saquon's year as so the optics were bad last year, and the numbers looked worse. Take away the efficiency stuff. Like, the touchdown should have been higher. It's Saquon Barkley. Like, how in the world does Dallas Goedert score almost twice as many touchdowns as Saquon Barkley? Like, that's a fucking riddle, dude. That should never happen. It's not going to happen again. I promise you. And then Derrick Henry, like, I understand it's in PPR and, like, we want to shoot for upside, right? Marion Hampton clearly has, I think, 65 to 70 catch upside as a receiver because he's got that ability. We saw it when he came back from injury last year. But, like, won't you feel like a fucking idiot when you draft Marion Hampton ahead of Derrick Henry and, he's playing 61% of the snaps and he has a nice year, 1,200 total yards and 9 touchdowns. And you see Derrick Henry do what Derrick Henry does and run for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. And you're like, wow, that was stupid. Like, I wanted to draft Marion Hampton to become Derrick Henry in total points. I could have just drafted Derrick Henry. It's the mystery box thing. Like, I could draft this guy that could be Derrick Henry, or I could just draft Derrick Henry. So Are you going to take Hampton over Henry, though? Because at some point we want to shoot for upside and go with younger players. I understand that appeal, but it's a tricky slope, man, because I know Hampton's upside's higher than Henry. Hampton has potential. I will tell you this. I think it's RB1 overall potential. That sounds crazy with Bijan, Gibbs, and McCaffrey, but with McDaniel in there, with Justin Herbert, this could be a top 3 offense. I think that's a 10% chance as a top 3, top 5 offense. If Keaton Mitchell doesn't factor in like we think, if Fadal isn't part of the plans, these are a lot of ifs. And Hampton gets that 73 to 75% workload with the pass catching and all the goal line work. Marion Hampton has a chance to be at least top 3 running back, where I don't think there's ever a chance Derrick Henry does that unless he runs for 2,200 yards. Because he's just not catching enough passes. But, like, we can't play fantasy just for the 10% outcome. That's a losing game. So are you taking Hampton or Henry? Full PPR.
I'm gonna go Hampton. But it's so close. I mean, it just feels like they're gonna obviously there's no changes in Baltimore other than the coaching situations. Obviously, that is what it is. But they didn't add anyone. It just also feels like it feels like Hampton is gonna be. I would love him to be my running back too. Like I would be more just like if I still don't have a running back and I went wide receiver early. And then I got to go take a running back. I feel like I would much rather have Henry over Hampton. But if I already have an anchor, if I have one of those more higher ranked guys, I'd be more inclined to take Hampton.
All right, that's fair. Let's take a break, hit you with the intro, and we'll get back with the tier 3 thing. I also want to talk to you about Chase Brown after the break and get your pulse on him because Chase Brown's a difficult one, and we'll talk about that in 1 second. You're going to like this intro too, Chaz.
All right.
You guys all will like it. You see your little head on there?
I saw it.
I shrunk your head down because Storey's a bigger guy than you, and I figured I'd shrink your head down, and shrunken heads and shit. It's a witch doctor thing.
And then we'll get some new wicker chairs next time we're at a gypsy hangout spot.
Okay, you think we're gonna be going to a lot of those? Because I feel like I already dodged a bullet once today.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, gypsies. I don't want anyone shrinking my head and shit.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was not gypsies ever that did that. That's sort of a witch doctor thing. But either way, neither one of them can shrink heads. Let's just burn the chairs.
All right, a couple hot dogs, calm down.
I dive deep for these fucking clips and references, baby. That's what I do.
It's so good.
That's what I do. I stay up till 4:45 in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning, all the time, just thinking about these things and trying to get a little laugh once in a while. Gotta keep it light, gotta keep it entertaining. So you do have kind of a small head too, Chaz.
I guess you can say that. I mean, you've definitely.
It would look small on my body. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's the point. I put you on Storey's body, so it would look smaller. And Storey's not a giant guy by any stretch, but All right, let's get back to the list. And Chase Brown, let's just have a quick discussion about Chase Brown. Like, this is a PPR thing, too. And the guy is the definition of a PPR play. Also does score 11 touchdowns a year, but a lot of it's through the receiving game. Chase Brown or A-Chain this year?
I think I already said earlier that I think A-Chan is going to be better than Brown this year just because of the sheer volume. It's just so hard. It's hard to do that. So I can easily see why people would want Brown over, A-Chan just because of those valuable touches. It's felt like every single year with Chase Brown, it's like, oh, he got, drafted in the, what was it, like 6th or 5th round, one of the two. It's like, oh, like, when are they going to find move off him? And he just kept on performing. Last year was amazing again. And now he's going to be going into his contract year probably, or he's got to be somewhere close. So
yeah, this is his contract year.
So I mean, if people are wheels up on Chase Brown, I'm not going to say that's a bad take at all. But
and the competition, they like Samaje Perine. He's fine. But Samaje Perine's 30 years old now. And Taj Brooks is still a raw player. So it's like they want to be a pass-heavy team. Chase Brown fits that to a T. He is a receiver out there. He has the experience handling the workload. At U of I, he was getting 35 touches a game. So like I know this is back to college 4 years ago, but I love Chase Brown. I love this tier of running backs. It's kind of flat though. When we adding in Barkley and Kenneth Walker. And I know a lot of people are going to hate the Hampton hate. And you know what? Every other channel glazes Hampton. He is the hipster pick of hipster picks. He is, in my mind, he's not going to bust like Brian Thomas did. But like everyone was glazing Brian Thomas last year. And how did that work out? And, Brian Thomas showed us a lot more as a rookie than Marion Hampton did, dude. I know it's easier for a wide receiver to fall off the face of the earth because they are dependent on the quarterback. But the wild thing about Brian Thomas is the offense actually was awesome last year. That was a Brian Thomas problem. But I'm just saying, Hampton, it seems like all these other guys are either elite players in elite situations or have elite snap shares or all three. I could poke holes in all of that. I don't know Hampton's great. I don't know snap share will be great. And I think the offense will be good. Could be great. Let's talk about the third tier here. So we had Barkley and Walker into the second tier. Let's throw Derrick Henry in the second tier. We talked about him. He's probably the back end of the second tier. These are either unproven guys or older guys in this next tier, starting with Jeremiah Love at 12, Breece Hall at 14, Kyron Williams at 15, and Josh Jacobs at 16, Chaz. So what are your thoughts on Jeremiah Love this year? You're going to be drafting him at the 2-3 turn because that's where he's going. And there's a chance, we talked about this the other day, that, it takes a training camp highlight. Maybe he plays in the preseason. Remember the Travion Henderson kick return touchdown, which was hilarious. It was a kick return touchdown in the preseason. And that literally made Travion Henderson jump up an entire round last year because he looked awesome. He was shot out of a cannon. And that is Travion Henderson, right? He's a really good kick returner because he doesn't need to have instincts or a pass block or do any of that. He just needs to run really fast in a straight line, which is what he's great at. And Jeremiah Love is such a better player than Travion Henderson. He could have an awesome, like, one-handed snag and like almost pull a Saquon Barkley. I could see this happening. And then all it takes is that. And then now Jeremiah Love's going ahead of Chase Brown, ahead of A-Chain, ahead of Barkley. And that wouldn't surprise me because people love rookies. So let's just go on the assumption it stays status quo. 2-3 turn, pick 23. End of the second round for Jeremiah Love, full PPR. You in?
I'm actually going to be pretty in on him, especially at the 2-3 turn. It's just tough because, like, if you can get, like, if Pickens falls or whatever, I would much rather have Pickens and PPR over Jeremiah Love. But if you're going to want me to select, like, Chris Olave or T. Higgins over Jeremiah Love, I would not be doing that in a full PPR format.
So the worry is early season stuff, right? And his history tells us, especially with the fact that he is a third overall pick, not even just any first round pick or not even any top 10 pick. Third overall is rare as shit. You don't see that very often. The contracts now too, like rookie contracts, he makes like $500,000 less than Jonathan Taylor. He's the 8th highest paid running back.
Yep.
Are you worried about the early? Because early season, he'll definitely be a guy that is getting better in terms of just him being acclimated to the NFL, the game speed, snap share, all those kind of things. How worried are you about the first 5 weeks? That shit matters, man. And I want to ask you this: what is give me his touches, like his touch total per game for the first 5 weeks? Is it 15 touches? Is it 17 touches? Is it 12 touches?
I'm going to go I'm going to go more so. I would go 16 a game. It's just tough because they signed Algier. They're going to be. I mean, those first 5-6 weeks, I could see it being a 50-50 split. Now that would suck, but could you also see that, or am I kind of just tripping on that take?
I don't think it's a 50-50 split. So I think a lot of people are scared off what we saw with Jahmyr Gibbs. Remember Jahmyr Gibbs' first 5 games? He was getting 8 and 9 and 10 touches. But they had David Montgomery, and they were in a win-now situation. Like, this is not a win-now situation, and Algier is not David Montgomery. And, I get James Conner. I'm not worried about James Conner and Trey Benson. Get the hell out of here with that shit. I don't know why they're even on the roster. One of them is going to be cut. Anyway, here's the upside of Jeremiah Love. I think you're right on point there with 16 touches. And if you can just buy yourself some time, you have to draft accordingly. I'm not saying draft like extra running backs necessarily. I'm saying maybe draft some players that might pop off earlier. So if you're in a deep league and you're looking at your flex and it's like, I could take a Casey Concepcion, I could take one of these guys, or I could take a guy like Josh Downs. Like, give me Josh Downs because I need production early, and then Love will make up for Josh Downs. That's just, it's kind of a weird conversation to have, but
it is weird,
build your roster.
Maybe
draft Chuba Hubbard instead of Blake Corum, for instance, something like that. Let me read you the Cardinals fantasy playoff schedule because this is what's up. So we're talking about the increased workload, which will happen down the stretch.
Yep.
This is awesome. They have at home against the Jets, they have at Saints, and then at home against the Raiders, dude. Best. I mean, I know I don't want to read into the fantasy playoff schedules too much, but when I see this, those are all bottom 10 defenses, no matter what. I feel like there's no way those defenses are good. That's where money is made. That is what's up. Like if you mix that with that schedule I read, with even if it's Carson Beck playing quarterback, with the talent of Jeremiah Love, and now you're talking, you get a 75% snap share. You get 22 touches a game, bro. He's gonna be an RB1 guaranteed, like a top 5. So I am definitely warming to Jeremiah Love. And I also don't love the players going at the 2-3 turn. It's George Pickens, and I love Devonta Smith, but I think that's a little rich. It's Rashee Rice, like question mark there. George Pickens, not even a number 1 on his team. I like George Pickens, but not at that cost. Kyron Williams, Breece Hall are the running backs there. Like Derrick Henry goes before him, so I don't like this ECR ranking is off because Derrick Henry always goes before Jeremiah Love. All those things just tell me like this is a potential league-winning pick, and I don't think it's going to tank you as much early in the season as most people do. I think you're in line with me on that one. So we're both in on Jeremiah Love. I'm going to definitely have some shares this year. You're gonna take him in some drafts at cost.
I would definitely be taking him in drafts at cost.
All right. I would almost want to put him in the next tier compared to the guys we're talking about after, though, because the guys after this is Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, and Josh Jacobs. And we just talked about Isaiah Davis mixing in. We love Braylon Allen. Like, that could be a pretty muddy, gross situation there. It's also the Jets. Kyron Williams, who is tied to an awesome offense. He's, Sean McVay loves him, but Blake Corum is fucking there. Blake Corum is not going away. This is at most a 60% opportunity share for Kyron Williams, which his 60% of the Rams is like anyone else's 80%. I understand that.
Yeah.
I want my players in the field, man. And it hurts your soul when you're a Kyron Williams owner and you're seeing, Blake Corum get 3 or 4 drives a game and then getting the goal line, getting 50% of the goal line carries. Like, there's going to be games where Kyron does not, Blake Corum scores 2 touchdowns just based on which drive he's playing. And like, that's an issue. I think in the whole spectrum of things, Kyron's going to be fine. His end of the year numbers going to be great. Like, he's going to have 11, 12 touchdowns. He's going to have 1,300 yards. But it might be a bumpier ride than people expect. And then Josh Jacobs is, I think, undervalued. I would put Josh Jacobs ahead of Kyron Williams. Once we get the legal stuff figured out, I am in on Josh Jacobs. Talk about these 3 players. I got to grab my phone charger. So just talk about Breece Hall, Kyron, and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean, I know Josh Jacobs got hit with that injury, later on, or it was more so mid to late in the season. I think that kind of put everyone off on him. I'm still in on Josh Jacobs. I remember that one game against the Bears in Green Bay. It was like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and they pitched it out to the right. And he just made some insane moves to get like 40 yards on the Bears. And I was just like, I mean, I already knew he was good, but I was like, holy crap, he's one of those top guys. With Breece Hall, it's hard because they just paid him. He does have in an RB2 season under his belt. That was multiple years ago, which obviously doesn't really excite me as much anymore. I know they added a lot there, so maybe defenses could be getting spread out. But then Kyron, as what Rob has already said, with Blake Horn being there, it's tough. It's tough knowing that he is going to only get 60% max, especially if he gets injured at any point of the year. They're going to be very, very cautious. We saw that with what they did with Devontae Adams last year. They were very, very cautious with that. I know there's some setbacks too there, but still, it worries me a bit. I would much rather have, I would go Jacobs, probably Kyron, and then Breece Hall here, rankings wise, instead of what they got there.
So you're out on Breece Hall. You were out on Breece Hall is what I'm hearing. Like, you're not drafting him at all.
I just don't know. I mean, I'm even though I'm an owner of him in one of my dynasty leagues, it feels weird. It feels weird. It feels like, okay, he's gonna get me, his usual 10 to 12 points a game, but it would be hard for him to maybe go extremely high or extremely over that, over the course of the season.
Yeah, I don't really love these players here. I mean, I love Josh Jacobs. The nice thing is Josh Jacobs usually goes in the 4th round. These other guys are 3rd round picks, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams. And then ETN needs to be thrown in this mix also. So ETN, is he on the bottom? He's at 18 on ECR, Fantasy Pros. Let's get to a couple comments here before we hit up the 4th tier.
Okay.
And we'll get to that in a second. We have Max in here. What's up, boys? Just seeing the RB split in Houston, maybe closer than people are thinking, but I think Monty gets bigger goal line role. Would you be worried if you hear this? Well, no, Monty's getting all the goal line work. Woody Marks is a pipsqueak. He plays smaller than his actual size. He's not even a big running back. Monty's getting every goal line carry. I think Monty gets 3rd downs too because he's a great pass protector. I don't know. What do you think the split's going to be between Woody Marks and David Montgomery?
I mean, we already knew there was going to be a little bit of a split. You already know whenever they're going to want, the running back going out up, trying to pass catches, they're going to have Woody Marks in there when they're going to look to pass protect. Obviously, you got to switch it up sometimes, but that's more so what it's going to be like in terms of their role. I could see because I mean it is an older Monty, so you do want to kind of take a little bit of the load off. But then again, he's also had a little bit of the load off for
he's fresh. Yeah, he's fresh.
The years that he's been playing. So I'm going to go 70% Monty. I could.
That's what I'm thinking. 65 to 70, like probably more than Hampton. Now I know this offense has definitely a limited upside, but the nice thing is, as limited as offense is in terms of like total points scored, Monty's a guy that is not like Derrick Henry, but he could get game scripted out a little bit. He's not going to get game scripted out of games in Houston. Like they're never losing by 2 scores. Yeah. This is the best defense in football. This is a better defense than the Seattle defense like this year because Seattle got a little worse. Houston got better. They got Reed Blankenship there. Just added into this team. Fucking love this defense. Love the situation of David Montgomery. And let's not forget, they traded for David Montgomery. Yeah. They paid him and traded for him. It wasn't like they signed him for Tyler Algier money. The trade, and they targeted David Montgomery. We just saw this with Joe Mixon. And it was not a limited Joe Mixon, but it was not prime Joe Mixon. He had a
Definitely
top 5 fantasy season. Mixon. Now, that Joe Mixon was better than David Montgomery now. I'm going to say that. Probably, I think that David Montgomery is probably 80% of the talent that Joe Mixon was that year. And Joe Mixon's a better pass catcher than David Montgomery. David Montgomery's a better goal line running back than Joe Mixon. So we just saw Joe Mixon on pure volume alone because they want to run the piss out of the ball with this defense and kind of hide CJ Stroud a bit. Be a top 5 running back. So, like, I don't think that's in the range of Monty's outcomes, but, he's going running back, 23? I think his floor is like running back 24. I think his upside is running back 8. Even in PPR, he's going to have 40 or 50 catches. Maybe that's a little aggressive. I think 35 to 40 is well within reason for Monty.
Yeah, I would say at least 30, 35, but I mean, once again, this is one of those same things as the Jacoby Brissett thing we were talking about earlier. It feels like he's being drafted, or at least ADP-wise, almost at his floor. It's like, why not, take that selection if he's there, because
people hate boring players. They refuse to draft boring players, and they want the upside shots. They want Bashal Tutin, and I understand the appeal of Bashal Tutin. Bashal Tutin has a chance to exceed what ETN did last year because he's got more juice than ETN for sure. We know Liam Cohen's a running back whisperer, but Chris Rodriguez is going to be a thorn in his spine. Like LaQuinn Allen's going to play in that team. So give me David Montgomery. You know what I mean? I could take shots on upside players later in the draft and maybe I could take a Jeremiah Love as well. Like, I think Jeremiah Love and Monty is a great pairing. You get a safe RB2, and then they're both going to be RB2s probably to start the year, and then you have your ascension with Jeremiah Love later in the year, and that might cover up for Monty breaking down a little bit. But, man, I'm going to have a lot of Monty teams in PPR because I think his pass-catching upside is underrated, and he's going to fall. I think he's going to fall to the end of the 4th, early 5th, maybe mid-5th. Fuck yeah, bro. I want proven commodities, and David Montgomery's got a chip on his shoulder. As much as he loved the Sonic and Knuckles thing, you gotta know David Montgomery, the guy. Great kid for one. And he's still a kid because I'm 38. I could call him a kid. Not over the hill. And also he wants to be the guy. He wanted to be the guy. As much as it was awesome playing with Gibbs, he loves Gibbs. It was nice. He was the consummate pro in terms of some of those games having 11 touches and never complaining. Can you imagine AJ Brown in that situation? Can you imagine AJ Brown? Like, they win the game. AJ Brown's like, I got 11 fucking carries, dude. Fuck this fucking Jahmyr Gibbs guy. This motherfucker. Dude, AJ Brown, fucking chill, bro.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Okay, then.
You just take it easy, man.
You know, that's your answer for everything, dude. And let me point out something. Pacifism is not... Look at our current situation with that camel fucker in Iraq. Pacifism is not something to hide behind.
Just take it easy, man.
I'm perfectly calm, dude.
Yeah, waving the fucking gun around?
Calmer than you are.
That's me and Ray right there. That's me and Ray. All right, let's move on to the next comment here. Guys, we have a goal in place. 12 more likes in this video, and we hop in an underdog draft after this. 20 super chat dollars, 4 more subs, or anyone joining the Patreon, joining the community, gets us another stream after this. We'll be on. Last night we did 5 hours and 10 minutes, Chaz. That's what we do.
Holy crap! I mean, I was in there. You saw me. I was in there for the.
You were in there for the first hour. Yeah.
I was.
I was in there 4 hours later. All right. Silence says A-Chain equals running back 15.
Ooh.
Trash. This is probably not an indictment on A-Chain's talent. This is a situation thing.
Yeah, it's just a situation.
We all agree A-Chain's a fantasy stud, man.
Yeah. It's just more so I believe he is still going to be able to get the production off the volume that he's going to be able to get. And obviously Silent doesn't think so, which I could easily see that in the range of outcomes, So once again, A-Chain, it's so versatile this year with what people are thinking on him.
Genty or Barkley, easy, Genty. You could probably make a case in standard for Barkley, but no one plays standard. Yeah. But in half PPR, it's closer for sure. I can make an argument in half PPR for Barkley. In full PPR, there is no argument. Although I think Saquon Barkley's going to have 50 or 60 catches this year, but Genty's going to have 70 catches, right?
Yeah, I still think this year's going to be a complete bounce back year for Barkley, but I mean, just with where he's, with his comments is with where he's being drafted at, I think it's hard to pass up on Barkley there. It's just that Genty's going to be, he should be better and have more production this year than Barkley.
Barkley's one of my most highest drafted players as well, Connor. I was like up to 28% or 33% on Barkley. I'm down to like 22%, but definitely really high on Saquon. Jay thinks Hampton will surprise. Jay is an elder statesman. I don't want to call him old. He's about my dad's age, but he loves young players. He loves Henderson. He loves his young players. You know what? Ray does as well. I don't see it, and I see the appeal. I see why people would draft him. I just think it's a risky pick. Connor says Hampton over Genty. Fantasy night, not in real life. See, I'm telling you, people love Hampton. People love Hampton.
People do love Hampton.
I don't. So we'll see. It might be one that comes back and bites me. Hampton for sure over Henry. I play to win by 40 points. I know it's nice to have these upside shots. If you continue to take all these upside shots, Jameson Williams and all these guys, yeah, you're going to win some weeks by 50 points. You're also going to probably miss the playoffs because you're going to lose a bunch of weeks by 10 points because you're going to have guys that get you single digits. So I like having some safe floor players, man. Give me Terry McLaurin all year, or all day, all year. Killing it this year. Killing it. Henry over Hampton. There we go. We got a lot of people. Dude, Hampton's a hot button topic, man. Hot button. BB loves Hampton over Henry. You're not a real Bears fan unless you have Swift in tier 1. We're going to talk about Swift here in a second. What's going on, Kenneth? We got Fantasy Dog in here, number 16 like. Appreciate you. Fantasy Dog's the man. We have Sir Denise. Is my team good? May, A-Chain, Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Pickens, T, Laporta. Is my team good at 10 PPR? 10-team PPR. So you have May at quarterback, A-Chain, Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Pickens, T. Higgins, Laporta. Yeah, I mean, 10-team leagues are so hard to judge. Like, everyone's team's going to be good. You have top 3 quarterback, at least where he's being drafted. You have a RB1 in A-Chain. You have an RB2 in Jacobs. Wide receiver 1, borderline Pickens. T. Higgins is wide receiver 2, and Laporta's 10-1. So, yeah, pretty good team. Pretty balanced team. I like it. What's up with the fantasy expert boners for Breece Hall? I think he's going way too early. Am I wrong? See, I don't see a lot of steam for Breece Hall, but I love when anytime you put boner in the comment, I'm going to be fucking happy to read that because I love saying the word boner. It's a great word. Whoever created that word, hats off to you, dude. Maybe Kenneth did. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, we just talked about Breece Hall, and we are not about Breece Hall. I loved it when he signed the contract, and I was like, I'm kind of high on the Jets offense, but when we see Braylon Allen bulking up to 250, he should be the goal line back, at least getting half the goal line carries. And how many are there going to be to go around in the first place? And you see Isaiah Davis' team, like those guys are going to be on the field a little bit. And I just don't like a 3-way committee potentially with a bottom 10 offense, potential bottom 10. Like those are just not a good ingredients, like it's not going to be a good dessert when you have that. It's going to have some mold on it. And it seems like a good floor play. Again, I love Breece Hall much more in full PPR. In half PPR, underdog was what I usually draft. I'm not touching Breece Hall because his value is he led the league in receptions one year as a running back. Like he has a 60 to 70 reception outcome season, but like what's his touchdown ceiling? 10? Like, I don't like that for a third round.
Yeah, it's iffy, and once again, this more so points to G Willie, right? Like I would be pretty high on Garrett Wilson going into this year rather than Breece Hall. So I don't know if that's
because Garrett Wilson goes after Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson goes, and I know it's different cross positions, but like in PPR, give me Garrett Wilson. I know Garrett Wilson. I think Breece Hall's very good. I know Garrett Wilson's great. Breece Hall's good. Garrett Wilson's great. Just hasn't put it all together yet, Ryan, this comment's confusing. If you're going for Montgomery, you should take Allen. Josh Allen. I don't really get that one. Can you be more specific? CJ Stroud loves his turnovers. You know what? He didn't turn the ball over last year in the regular season really too much. He hasn't been a major turnover prone player because he's more of a game manager. But that playoff stuff, that was some of the worst shit we've ever seen. That was F-, dude. What was it? Nine turnovers? It was 9. If you count fumbles, they didn't lose. It was 9 in 2 games. Fumbles and picks. If you don't count the lost fumbles, like that's 4.5 a game, dude. What are we talking about? Unreal. Do you think Benson has trade value in terms of real life? I think Benson should fetch a 6th round pick. I think he's better than a 7th round pick. You're not going to get a 5th rounder for him because he's coming off an injury too. Let's not forget about that. And obviously the Cardinals, with their moves they made, like they showed their hand. It's like, why would a team give him a 5th round pick when like they're probably going to release him anyway? But it's the reason you give a 6th rounder is because multiple teams may be interested, and like just give a 6th rounder for a guy that's 24 years old, former 3rd round pick 2 years ago. Definitely has some pass catching chops, 230 pounds, 225 pounds. I like Trey Benson still. Are you giving up on Trey Benson?
I mean, all signs point to me giving up on Trey Benson. You sign out here, you draft, Jeremiah Love. Obviously, he can get released and go to a different team, but I would be very hesitant wherever he goes.
Kind of says Cardinals are supposed to be one of the worst teams, yet all these pieces are supposed to be good for fantasy. How? I mean, they're not going crazy high. You have Love at the 2-3 turn. You have Trey McBride in the early 3rd round, but Trey McBride's coming off an all-time tight end season. Marvin Harrison's going in the 6th round, and Michael Wilson's going in the 9th round. The reason they're going to be good and they're going to pay off potentially is because this defense is trash, and they're going to have to put up points. And like we just saw it last year. I doubt it's going to be what it was last year. That was unreal. Like
last
game
year
flow
was actually unreal.
They're going to want to slow it down, but also like LaFleur is a potential good. It's a new situation. We want to invest in some of these obscure coaching situations, and I think LaFleur's good. I think he's a McVay disciple. Like, it's definitely better than Drew Petzing. Like that's the upside. Is like the coaching staff will be professional. I know they're going to be inexperienced, but progressive. And Jacoby Brissett's not the worst thing in the world. Like there's worse than Jacoby Brissett. Let me ask you this right now. If you had to start one of these guys all year, Brissett or Kirk Cousins, who are you going with?
I would go off of what happened last year, and I would go Brissett. I mean, you just know. I mean, we all know they're going to be in garbage time all the time, and they're going to be talking about. He was literally having the most completions, the most targets or whatever, ever. So it's going to be almost just like that this year. So.
Good comment from Jonathan. Shout out, Jonathan. We love you, Jonathan. Great trade for you, by the way. Also, Monty gets to play closer to his disabled sister in Houston, and the one game she came to last year, he went off. Yeah, she lives in Houston. Remember that? He had the passing touchdown and like 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also probably why he wanted to go there. So just a lot of nice connecting the dots things there, and that was a nice comment there.
Yeah, Jonathan, I remember I had him on one of my teams last year, and I saw that his sister was there, and I was like, I got to start this guy, and he ended up popping off. It was a great day. It's a great day and all.
Saquon over Genty all day. Groupthink is strong with Genty. I mean, I totally see the Genty thing much more than the Hampton thing. I mean, we saw Genty be elite last year as a running back. Like, he had the lowest yards before contact in the league. So he was getting hit like in the backfield, bro. We saw him catch a wheel route for 70 yards. Like, he looks pretty good. I have no concern with Genty's workload, like none whatsoever. I understand the offensive environment's much, much worse in the Raiders, but dude, with running backs, like, I know the recipe for like a top 3, top 5 running back is most of the time top 10 offense. I get that. But you know what the other recipe is? A fuck ton of work. And Genty's going to have like 350 touches this year. Like, it's just, he had 300 last year, and they ran like no plays because they were going 3 and out every drive, and they had the worst offensive line. Linderbaum, like, I'm not even a big Genty dude, but like, I like him at cost. I'm comfortable with the floor of Dash and Genty, and there's a chance this offense is a lot better than we think. When I say a lot better, not 29th, like 24th, which is enough for Genty to be a top 5 running back. PPR, baby, 70 catch potential. How many catches did he have last year? Because someone looked it up for me. How many catches did Ashton Genty have last year? I think it was quite a bit.
Let me check. But I will say, in our Dynasty League, Big Ray and I are heavily in on him. It was 55 catches last year. But I mean, we took him at the 107 in our Dynasty League. So,
dude, so you're telling me 55 is his floor because he's having more this year. They're going to run more plays. Like, and they don't have Jacoby Myers. I guess Brock Bowers will be back there. But Kenneth says I'll take Genty in the 4th. See, I don't understand it. The environment's way better this year. Genty is now a second-year player. Genty was essentially last year he busted because he was a 1-2 turn pick. If you just swap Genty and Jeremiah Love's draft position, if we had drafted Genty at the 2-3 turn last year, he actually returned value. He was a top 12 running back last year, and that was with the worst situation ever. He wasn't necessarily that great either. I think he left some meat on the bone there as a rookie. So you're going to think he's going to be 2 rounds worse of a player this year. I don't like, he's going to have 300 touches. So are you projecting injury? Do you think Mike Washington's eating into his workload? Like, you have to, Kenneth, please just give me some like context behind a wild take like this, because that's fucking wild. And I understand you could fade a guy. Like, I hate Hampton. I told you I would take Hampton at the 2-3 turn and be super happy with it. The problem is, it's not that it's a 6-pick gap where I have it where he's getting drafted 7-pick gap. It's the players I'm passing on to take a Marion Hampton. I'm passing on Drake London and A.J. Brown. I'm passing on Brock Bowers.
Well, both those guys.
Not doing that
Bowers
thing. I'm
too.
not doing that. Vegeta says, your guest voice sounds like McLovin from Superbad. Heyo! It's not as squeaky as McLovin, right?
I was between that and Muhammad.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you just pick a common name like a normal person?
Muhammad is the most commonly used name on earth. Read a fucking book for one.
Fantasy's all about situations. Hate when people say someone will be good because they're athletic. They're all athletic. Well, no, we're not saying that Genty's gonna be good because of his athleticism. We're saying he's gonna be good because he's gonna have 350 touches.
Yeah,
he can actually be bad and have a good fantasy season. It's not the offense it's in. It's just like there's the running backs behind Ashton Genty are awful. Mike Washington, elite prospect, elite combine, one of the most raw guys. If it wasn't for his combine, Mike Washington would have been a 6th-round pick. He was a 4th-round pick with an all-time combine. Like, he doesn't scream to me as pro-ready player. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. And they're not going to trust when Mendoza comes in week 7, week 8, whatever it is, maybe earlier. They're going to trust Mike Washington out there pass blocking as a rookie for your fucking number 1 overall pick. No, they're going to have Ashton Genty's ass in the field, dude. They're paying him a fuckload of money. They have that they drafted him way higher than he should have been drafted. Like, he's going to be on the field a lot, and like that's what we want. Give me opportunity. Genty is going to have a great year this year. I'm not even the biggest Genty guy. I'm going to defend someone saying Genty should be a 4th round pick though. Like, that's even 3rd round pick, dude. Ashton Genty is a top 14 pick. Like, even if you hate him, I think you'd have to take him there. Ooh, this is going from Vegeta. I like Saquon, but kind of losing 70% of his goal line carries. That gets me. No other running back has to get worried about quarterback vulturing TDs. It's a lot, but I know the year was all-time epic 2024, and he, I think Hurts had 14 rushing touchdowns that year. Barkley didn't have his value wasn't necessarily on touchdown, it was yards, and he still had like 11 or 12 that year, 13. So yeah, he doesn't have the touchdown upside of the rest of the guys, but there's also a point where they should probably scale back Jalen Hurts rushing, like, tush push stuff, because he was hurt last year. Whether that happened on a tush push, he was definitely hurt last year, and he's not getting any younger. A lot of stuff, a lot of tread on those tires, man. And I don't think they have to really stress too much to get in the playoffs. Like, the Eagles are always a playoff team.
Yeah,
maybe ride Saquon, maybe ride. And the worry, if anything, would be Tank Bigsby eating into his workload, because Tank Bigsby was downright amazing last year. 5.8 yards per carry. All the advanced stuff with Tank Bigsby was elite level stuff.
Yeah, and also, who you gonna want to ride more? Your older running back who you want to try and squeeze out as much production as you can, or your franchise quarterback who you still want to be with your team for however many years. You just don't want some of those injuries that are going to happen on, the right plays and tush push. I mean, obviously Josh Allen's way different, but Jalen Hurts, we saw last year get hurt.
Nobody hijacks the show. I also don't have to read every comment. I'm going to do, these are fine comments. I think you actually believe what you're saying.
Exercise, though.
And yeah, dude, like, I don't ever disparage anyone. So he says, I don't mean to hijack the show. I love to, I just have to be on a guest sometime. Kenneth, join the community, man. And I have community members on the show all the time. I've had like 9 or 10 different fans on the show. So join the Patreon, get in the community, and I'd love to have you on as a guest. Draft some best ball, come on for a segment, come on with Chaz, come on with Storey, whoever, a guest of your, a co-host of your choosing, come on the show, man. We love that. Kenneth says, like you said, they go 3 and out a lot. So what's changed? Well, so they have a better quarterback situation. Geno Smith was like worst quarterback in the league last year. They upgraded their offensive line. Linderbaum is awesome. They have healthy Brock Bowers this year. Like, it's not going to be a great offense. It'll be better. And even with that that was the worst offense in football last year. Like, it really was. I think the Jets and them were the worst 2 offenses in football. It's not going to be that bad. And you know what? It's got to be better. It's got to be better. And you know what? Maybe we're wrong, but I feel like if their offense is just as bad as last year, Ashton Genty, again, last year was worthy of a 2-3 turn pick. That's where he finished. So if that's his floor, not that bad of a floor for a 1-2 turn pick.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start sub center now, and also Kubiak in there. So it's got to be at least a little bit better than last year.
All right, let's get back to the list. Guys, we need 9 more likes in this video. We need 20 more Super Chat dollars. We need 1 Patreon sign up or 4 more subscribers, and we're going to do an underdog draft right after this for a new stream, maybe 2 drafts. And I'll chug a beer. Let's get to the rest of the list. We were finishing up on the 3rd tier, right? I don't know if we're going to get to all these tiers, but we were done with this one. Okay. Yep. There you go. 4th tier here: Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Cam Scatterbo, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, DeAndre Swift, and David Montgomery. I fucking love this tier, man. This is what's up. Like, if I compare this to the bottom of the other tier with Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, and Josh Jacobs, although I'm warming on Josh Jacobs, like, I think these guys should all be in the same tier, honestly. At least the top 4 guys. Like, and if you don't like Bucky Irving, I get that, but Javonte, Etienne, Scatterbo, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, like, stop it there. And then I want to put Montgomery up there as well. But, like, this is super tasty, man. I'm not an ETN guy. But they paid him a lot of money. Javonte Williams is pretty bad. He was bad last year. He's not a great player, but he is the only show in town.
Offense, only showing
top 10 offense. All the goal line work. And unlike Saquon, you don't get anyone stealing the goal line. Dak is not really running on the goal line anymore. You get, 12? It's a mini Derrick Henry situation with Javonte Williams. I know that's a weird thing to say, but that's what it appears to be.
But
I'm not worried about Jaden Blue. Are you worried about Jaden Blue at all? Stealing some snaps?
No, I'm not worried about it at all. I know we are. I know we talked about that probably a couple weeks ago. I know there were some things put out, but like I said, I'm not worried about it. I don't put too much, or too much stuff into stuff that comes out. Especially, I think when we were talking about it was late June, early July. So still, I would be pretty high on Javonte Williams, even if you don't like the talent.
Is this pretty fair for you? Because, man, I want Cam Scatabo. If the reports, we got to see the reports about his leg. He's doing backflips, but he's not landing them apparently. I made the joke on last night's show about we were talking about the backflip, and that's why the intro I had the free solo guy, Alex Hanault or whatever. And I was like, "What's Cam Scatabo going to do? Is he going to free solo next? I got a building because the guy's a fucking psycho." But if the reports are good for his health, man, like Cam Scatabo is a fantasy beast, catching passes, goal line work. You know, Jackson Dart loves him.
It's a bulldozer.
The worry there is Harbaugh's an idiot who kept Derrick Henry off the field. So maybe he does that with Scatabo. But Travis Etienne, we did this in Vegas versus ADP. His rushing line is $7.99. His rushing touchdown line is 4.5. It is the same. Chuba Hubbard and Tony Pollard have the same exact Vegas props with actually higher touchdown totals. I know Etienne's value is as a pass catcher, right? 40, 50 receptions. It's not so much the catch total. It's that he does a lot with the ball in his hands, and he runs wheel routes. He catches those deeper, seam passes and up the sideline. Are you fine with Travis Etienne here? Is this fine? These top 5 guys, how would you re-rank these guys? Judkins, Irving, Scatabo, Etienne, and Williams.
Judkins, Irving, Scatabo, Williams. I would still go Williams 1, Etienne 2. I feel like Judkins should be. I feel like Judkins and Scatabo should switch it. I don't know why people are this low on Judkins. I know that's going to be a very, very bad offense. I understand it. But I'm still going to be in on Judkins.
So another interesting Vegas versus ADP I found, this is one of the reasons I really started fading Hampton. I was already fading him already. Now, I know the pass catching stuff, even though Judkins had 26 receptions last year in 12 games. So, he could have a 35 reception year. He's not a Derrick Henry level, like inept receiver. And they did feature him a little bit. But Quinshon Judkins and Hampton have the same exact rushing line and touchdown line in Vegas. It is 900 yards over under, and it's 7.5 touchdowns. So, like, I think they should both be going within a round of each other. And currently you have one going 14th overall, one going 54th overall. A 30-pick gap, it should be a 10-pick gap. I understand the upside of Hampton's huge, but the floor of Judkins is huge because the dude's a workhorse. They love running him and the Wildcat on the goal line. Also because they don't want to have their shitty quarterbacks out there throwing picks, But, dude, so you want Judkins over Bucky in full PPR?
Yes.
You want Judkins over Etienne?
I'm going to go Etienne just because of the situation. I love Kellen Moore. I love what that offense, I love what that organization's doing. They just got Jordan Tyson. I think that's going to be a way better offense this year. I think Shuck takes a little bit of a step. If it was a better situation for Judkins, I would have him probably in that tier 3. But just the situation kind of puts him in that tier 4 range.
But the other plus side is Judkins' film is good. Judkins kept Henderson off the field at Ohio State. He was the snap leader. He was the starting running back there. I know Henderson went higher than him in the draft, but Judkins was, and again, the situation might not be a lot better this year. It might be the same. I don't think it's going to be worse than last year. That was awful in Cleveland last year. That's another team. It was the Raiders, the Browns, and the Jets were the worst 3 offenses in football. They did fortify this offensive line a little bit. Obviously, now I like you have 2 quarterback options with the second year of Shador and then Deshaun Watson. There's good reports. I don't want to buy too much into this.
Yeah, decent reports.
But Quinshon Judkins' film, go watch it, guys. He is a grown man. This dude is a fucking bowling ball. This dude is aggressive. He's got good vision. Like, he's quicker than you think. Judkins is good. Like, his film is so much better than Hampton's last year, and I get Hampton is probably a better prospect. Quinshon Judkins is a pro, already a pro. Let's not forget he missed all of OTAs, all of training camp, all of preseason last year. Did not have time to acclimate to the NFL. They just threw him right in there. Week 1, he had 12 touches. Week 2, he had 23 touches without any preseason. So, like, they love this kid. I love Dylan Sampson, too. Dylan Sampson's a scat back, and it's not even that. There's no third guy there. It's Raheem Sanders as their third running back. They don't have Jerome Ford anymore. So this is going to be a 2-way. I love it. It's only a 2-way committee. There's no risk of a third guy. We're like, talk about Bashal Tutin a little bit. Bashal Tutin has a risk of LaQuinn Allen. There is a third guy in the mix. There's no third guy. There's no threesome with Quinshon Judkins. It's just 2. It's one-on-one, man. So talk to me about Bucky Irving. So I think this is fair for Bucky Irving. I didn't like him when he was going like 17 or 16, but the hate's kind of gone too far. He burned a lot of people last year. again, talk about three-way committees. Sean Tucker will get some snaps. Sean Tucker will get some goal line work, and then Kenneth Gainwell is a better pass catcher than Rachaad White, which is saying a lot because Rachaad White's like a top 5, top 8 receiving back in the league. I think Kenneth Gainwell, I mean, based on last year, he was the best receiving back in the year. Not even just like in numbers, but like advanced metrics. The dude was like yards per route run. He was up there with like Justin Jefferson. Like, this is awesome. Kenneth Gainwell is great. They paid him for a reason. But Bucky Irving is a good talent. He's tied to a good offense. I do like being tied to, the Buccaneers. I think they're a nice soft division, nice soft schedule. Are you fair with Bucky at 20?
Yeah. I would say because just looking at the guys below, I would have Scat below. I definitely want Bucky over Scat. I would definitely want Bucky over Henderson, Bucky over Swift. So it makes sense because I'm also not going to take him over what I said, Judkins over Etienne. I think that's a good I think that's a good spot. But like I said, I am more down on him this year than what people have been telling me.
Yeah. John, this is yes, keep blazing my running backs.
Clinton, yeah, he does have Judkins.
Yeah. Hey, dude, it's a good pick, man. We love Judkins.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm in on that. So I'm going to take some shares of Irving this year, and that's a good call from Vegeta. I think maybe it was one all year. I know coming back post-injury, he had 0. So once Sean Tucker got acclimated and they were using him when he came back more, 0 goal line carries for Bucky Irving. It might have been one all year. I think he might have had a couple early in the season. He was having those like 26 touch games, but Bucky his rookie year was efficiency, right? It was like 15 to 16 touches a game, but it was 5.7 yards per carry. He was having explosiveness in the passing game. He looked great, but that was also with Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen's gone. That's the upside with Bashal Tootin is you saw what we did with Travis Etienne last year. So was Bucky Irving his rookie year? Was that a product of Liam Cohen? Was that a product of him being healthy, or was it? What is the real Bucky? Is it last year? Clearly, he was hampered by the injuries.
Yeah.
We all know that, and he wasn't even that great before the injury, but after the injury, he was downright awful. It was brutal to watch, but he was still getting like 16 touches. It was just like that Najee Harris stuff, where it was like between the 20s, we're gonna give Bucky all these terrible little 4-yard carries, not be creative with him, not really feature him in the passing game, and we're gonna bring Sean Tucker in. We're gonna throw the ball to Rachaad White on third downs. Is there upside with Bucky Irving? I guess is what I'm asking you.
I think I'm a bad person to ask this question to. I would say it's going to be at the ceiling, RB 10, maybe. I don't know. I just don't see him in the realm of possibilities getting higher than 10 or even 13. And I mean, thinking about some of the guys that we were talking about there, we had that top 13, and then there's that cutoff after was it Breece Hall and Kyron. So that's where I'd probably go. Top 13 would be his best finish possible, which would be an RB2.
Only reason I'm in is in full PPR because I think he's got 50 reception upside. In half PPR, I am Bucky Irving. Like, where's the touchdowns coming from? And even if he's getting half the goal line work, that's not enough for me because Baker is an aggressive. He throws the ball in the end zone more than any quarterback. Like that dude just chucks the ball, and he's not. He is a very elusive, very electric player, but it's not straight line speed. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's never going to break off a 60-yard touchdown run. It's just not in his game. So it's like if he's not scoring from 30 yards out, he's not getting all the goal line work or even most of the goal line work. Where is the upside of Bucky Irving? I don't see it. Travion Henderson, real quick. Kind of said I just joined, sent you an email. Hell yeah, man. 2 jobs, full-time school and a baby. That's a lot of stuff.
Ooh,
I saw you. I'll send you an email. You joined as a free member, so to get in the Discord, you have to get in the $5 tier minimum. So we'll talk. We'll figure something out if you're interested. If not, like I said, I appreciate anyone even considering joining the community. But it is the place to be, Chaz. It's the fucking place to be.
It's the place to be.
We have a super chat here from Derek. Chaz fading Scat. League winner if healthy. What is your worry about Scat? We'll talk about Scat real quick. What is is it the health coming back? Is it Tyron Tracy? Is it John Harbaugh like not leaning on his bell cow?
It's a mix of that. It's also a mix of I could easily see re-injury here because how guys hit in college compared to how guys hit in the NFL. From what I've heard, obviously is way different. And the fact that this dude just lowers his head all the time and just takes the hit, he's got to be concussed at some point during the season. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where my thing comes in. And so obviously last year was a freak injury. Like that's
Dude,
not.
Scat was concussed last year. I guarantee it. It's just like one of those things where his coach was Brian Dable, who we saw with Jackson Dart was poking his head in the tent. Like certain coaches are just not going to care. And like, you know, a lot of times they catch it from upstairs and they radio into the officials. But I promise you, Scatterbo had a concussion last year. There's just no way around that he didn't.
No way.
And they will catch one of these, and he's never going to take himself out of the game because Cam Scatterbo doesn't have a lot of brain cells in the first place. No offense to Cam, seems like a great guy. That's a nice point though. It's like if he's going to miss 2 or 3 games on a baseline, let's just call it 2 games. So a lot of times concussions are 2 games now. And that's an issue. That's not even talking about hamstring injuries, ankle injuries, etc. This is just a brain injury, and all running backs have the potential to get them. Cam's probably twice as likely as any other running back.
It's gotta be more likely with what he likes to do with his head when he's running the football.
That being said, this is redraft. I'm not as concerned. In Dynasty, I'm frightened. Like, you're probably getting 5 years out of Scatterbo. I mean, that's like kind of a lot for a running back in general. That's not, high draft capital duty. Was a 4th round pick. And it was a high 4th round pick, but still, like, I'd be fucking scared of Scatterbo. I would want him to have like a nice 9-game stretch this year, and I'm trading him right away.
Get him right off the team.
Yeah. Let's talk about Hendy. Again, a guy I have been not a fan of since the draft process. I ate a lot of crow those weeks when Stevenson was out, and everyone told me I'm an idiot. And he's the starter now. And I said, no, it's still Stevenson's job. And that sounded wild to say at the time, right? And I stuck by my guns, and I could not have been more right. I could not have been more right with that playoff run, 30% of the snaps. That one game, he played like 12% of the snaps. What was
4
that?
carries.
One.
He had 4 carries. One of those games.
And just bad. I get it. His numbers look good. Last year, his numbers look good because he had 3 70-yard touchdown runs. And 2 of them where you could have made those runs. I know he's not that fast. But he did nothing. He did nothing to like deserve that besides being fast, which we understand he is.
Yeah.
Bad pass protector, not terrible vision. Now, he was a rookie, so let's give him some grace. There's a chance that it was a rookie. My worry is that everyone touted Henderson as a pro-ready player. He was clearly not. He could make the leap, but Stevenson's still there. I still think Stevenson's maybe not the starter. I think it's a total split backfield. But if I had to bet the first 5 weeks, talk about the first 5 weeks of the season, who outsnaps who out touches who, I'm going with Stevenson. Are you going with Stevenson?
I mean, shoot, they showed that all in the playoff run, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and start off the season hot. They want to try and win as many games as they can. That's what they did in the playoffs. Could try that here and just try and keep their young stud, healthier going into the later parts of the season.
Are you in on this price? Because this is obviously. If something happens to Stevenson, and let's not forget the fumbling issue with Stevenson. I know it didn't happen last year, but obviously Vrabel is a player's coach. He gave him a lot of grace for those fumbles. But if he has 2 fumbles in the first 6 weeks, they could flip this and be like, this is Hendy's job. Stevenson's going to be the ancillary piece. And Henderson has a chance to be like, if there is no Ramondre Stevenson in this backfield with this offense that is stacked right now. This is a top 5 running back. He has the archetype, right? He catches passes. It's Jahmyr Gibbs light. And I know people threw around he is Jahmyr Gibbs, which is just stupid because there's one Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He'll never be Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's that archetype of player. Home run hitter. We like this for fantasy. If he was the starting guy and he's big enough to handle a big workload, I'm not worried about the injury concerns with Hendy. That's why you draft him, because I think his floor is probably around 25, 26, 27, because based on the offense he plays in. And that's probably what's most likely to happen. But the 10%, 20% outcome, whether he overtakes Henderson or Stevenson because he plays better, injury with Stevenson, fumble issues with Stevenson, there's a lot of ways this can go. This is legit a top 5 back. Where like Jutkins and Irving, even Scatterbo, they don't have ETN. They don't have top 5 upside. Get out of here. They don't play in a good enough offense. Henderson does. So that's why people draft Hendy. What is your take? Are you taking him here? If you had 10 leagues, would you take some shots at ADP on Travion Henderson?
I mean, you may have just convinced me to try and take at least a shot or 2. But I mean,
I convinced you. I should never be convincing anyone on Henderson. I'm just talking about like the upside shot, because I'm not denying it's there. I just want to go on like fantasy is a game of probabilities, and like if I keep on taking these shots on guys that have a lower probability to really smash, it's a losing game. I want to take my shots here and there. I will take Hendy as much as I hate Hendy. I will take Hendy if the price is right. If Montgomery's off the board, and Swift and Hendy is tough for me. I know Swift is going to is going to be an RB2. Like every year he outperforms his ADP. But what is Swift's, unless Monungai gets hurt, and then they would probably bring someone else in. Ben Johnson's going to use 2 backs. Like Swift is never going to be an RB1. I'm sorry, unless this is a top 2 offense. Henderson has that upside. So are you going to take shots? Don't let me convince you, because I'm sorry, I gave you some good. I can always make good convincing points.
You did.
I could definitely bang Chaz. I think I just proved that Chaz is a straight guy. But hey, if I really wanted to, I think I could bang Chaz. I could talk him into it.
Hey, you ever accidentally masturbate to young pictures of your mom?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Sorry.
No,
you're going to take shots. Are you going to take shots on Hendy?
Maybe a couple. It's just hard because I'm pretty in on Swift and Montgomery. So like unless they're both off the board.
Hendy or Irving? Hendy or Irving? Because you're not on Irving.
I'm gonna go Irving still.
All right, so you're out on Hendy. You're out on Hendy then. Okay, Hendy or Tootin? Hendy or Tootin? See, Hendy and Tootin is close to me.
I mean, I'm also in on Tootin, but I'll still go Henderson just because of that offense. I know Tootin's in a better offense, but I think it's really going to be a split there with Tootin. Unless Tootin can show he's, the guy. But I
am warming the Tootin, man. I read an article, and like we all thought ETN had this giant workload last year. And also, before I get into this, Bayshall Tootin had 8 touchdowns as a rookie with limited work. 8 touchdowns. ETN had it was a 61% opportunity share of that backfield. And there's a lot of opportunities in Liam Cohen's backfield, but 61% is not that much. And we're all worried about Bayshall Tootin. Like, it's probably going to be a 50-50 split with Rodriguez. Like, okay, where are you drafting him if it's a 50-50 split? Tootin's getting the pass-catching work. The worry is the goal line work, and you also have to share that with Trevor Lawrence, who's going to take, he had 9 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he was rushing.
But Liam Cohen knows how to utilize his running backs. He made Bucky Irving an RB1 with limited touches. He made Travis Etienne, who's been a chronic underperformer. I don't think that great of a player. Terrible vision, not a good power back. Questionable hands, too, but a good receiver with the ball in his hands. He made him an RB1 last year. Like, I like the Bayshall Tootin doesn't need an injury, right? This is more of an obscure backfield. So I think I'm like at consensus with Tootin, and I think Henderson and Tootin would be a tough click for me. Like, to choose between those 2 guys. I think the upside's with Henderson, obviously, if there's like stuff that happens, but Tootin could just take this backfield. If last year his film was bad, I joked about it. He ran into his players a lot, his offensive line a lot. He ran into defenders a lot. I think he's colorblind or something. Maybe he needs to get LASIK. But Bayshall Tootin was also a rookie. I'm going to give him some grace. Like he was a raw rookie out of Virginia Tech. Like they did trust him a little bit. He got some play in the playoffs. Like they trusted him enough. And this is his second year. I'm going to have some shots on Tootin because I play a lot of PPR, and I think that the risk is not as bad as the upside. Like the upside's better than the risk. Like what are you losing? This is the George Pickens and Chris Olave thing last year. I know, different position. What are you really risking with a 5th/6th round pick on Bayshall Tootin outside the top 24 running backs? I love it. Like Bayshall Tootin and Jalen Warren right behind him, just to talk about Warren for a second, is the exact opposite. Like Warren is such a limited range of outcomes. Like he's gonna probably finish right where you're drafting him. He's gonna have like 60 receptions. You probably won't score that many touchdowns, but like nice floor play. So Tootin or Warren, Tootin or Swift, Tootin or Henderson, rank those guys. And Monty as well. I know Monty's probably too high for you.
Yeah, I definitely have Monty over Swift and Henderson, but it gets iffy with Henderson and Swift. I feel like I'd probably still go Henderson. I know I'm still in on Swift, and then Tootin will just be last, but Warren's going to be way last. I hate taking any running back from or in Pittsburgh, but also just going back to the whole Liam Cohen thing. Like even when he was in Kentucky, the running backs that were playing when he was there were just always so good. They would always perform extremely well. So this could just be a Liam Cohen situation where the running backs are just always going to be good there with what scheme he runs.
All right, let's get on to the next tier. We got about 20 minutes left in the show. Guys, we need 7 more likes. We still need 16 more Super Chat dollars. If Kenneth wants to join the actual Patreon, we'll do a show as well. Let's get to the next tier. This would be the fifth tier here. Let's kind of breeze through and just talk about a couple of these guys. My TreVeyon Henderson this year is Jadarian Price. I don't know what people are seeing there. I guess running back 27 is kind of juicy, maybe. But this is kind of the opposite of Jeremiah Love. Like, I get that he has a chance to, like, take this backfield. But once Charbonnet comes back, we don't know when that is. I think it's earlier than most.
We don't know when that is, actually.
Week 8, Week 10, like, are you going to be able to trust Price in the fantasy playoffs when they love Charbonnet? Again, Zach Charbonnet kept Kenneth Walker off the field. Zach Charbonnet outsnapped Kenneth Walker last year. Zach Charbonnet had double-digit touchdowns last year. They trusted him in terms of pass protection. They trusted him in third down. They definitely trusted him at the goal line. They're not going to all of a sudden be like, well, we trust Price over Kenneth Walker. I know Kenneth Walker's kind of an idiot. He's a tiny dancer. He doesn't have great vision. Kenneth Walker's a better player than Jadarian Price, especially year 3 Kenneth Walker. So what's going to change? Like, I'm not going to draft a guy that might be an expiring asset. It's wild to say that about a rookie, but that's the situation right now. Emmanuel Wilson's there. George Halane was playing in the Super Bowl, 30% of the snaps, meaningful pass protection snaps. He is still there. This team was really bad efficiency-wise running the football until the playoffs. And, you know, what's the real Seahawks, right? Was it what we saw in the playoffs? Or what was we saw the first 14 weeks of the season when Kenneth Walker was barely running back too? Charbonnet was barely running back too because they were cannibalizing each other. So are you in on Price? Do you like the talent and do you like the price point?
You know, I've been actually trying to get one of my friends to sell on Jadarian Price for, you know, because he also is in need of a quarterback, and I think he's just drafting Price just to draft him, which I told him, I said, man, that's not good. I think you should move off him and go and get value somewhere else, especially in Dynasty. Obviously, we're talking about redraft, but even this year, I'm just not in on Jadarian Price because we just know that as soon as Charbonnet comes back, that backfield's going to be split, or it's going to be more towards more favorable towards Charbonnet. So it's just tough to be in on a guy like that.
And the Charbonnet stuff's kind of hypothetical. We know he's coming back at some point, but let's not focus on that. Let's play in the short term. First 5 weeks, we did the same exercise with Jeremiah Love. This is also a rookie. You know, he was a first-round pick, but it was a late first-round pick. All accounts where they were trying to trade out of this pick, but they had no takers. So they just took Price. They didn't have a lot of holes, right? This is a Super Bowl winning team. They lost some guys.
Yeah, they don't have many holes.
They don't have many holes. They needed a running back, losing Kenneth Walker. How many touches is Price getting? Let's just go first 5 weeks. I know this is a wild question because you could tell me 5, you could tell me 20 per game, and we won't know in general, but it's a very murky, weird situation. Law of averages, what do you think of a Price first 5 weeks? Because this matters because you're drafting him to almost be a starter, or at least to be a flex.
I mean, no Charbonnet, I feel like it's got to be, 14, 15. I don't know if that's what you're kind of thinking. I mean, I was going to originally say 10.
No, fuck no, dude. 14.
No, I don't know. I feel like that's possible.
Okay, so he's a starting running back then from day one is what you're telling me, because that's the starting running back numbers.
I think he could be, but I'm just saying once Charbonnet comes back, that's where it'll decrease, I think.
Man, I was going to say 8, dude.
Wow.
No, I think that Emmanuel Wilson's going to be the short yardage back. He was really good last year for Green Bay when Josh Jacobs went hurt. He's very fresh. And George Halane is trusted. They're not going to Jadarian Price has no experience. He literally played he didn't even have like over 80 touches in a year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like this is a Roschon Johnson situation, bro. Like we saw that with the Bears. Yes, good talents. I don't think a great talent, good talents. But like dude's raw as a pass catcher. Dude's really raw as a pass protector. They didn't throw the ball much there, so he has no experience doing these things in college. Dude, Travion Henderson was touted as a great pass protector coming out of college. How did that work out in the pros? It didn't, because he was off the field in those situations, especially in the playoffs. So this is the guy that was touted for that at Ohio State, which they asked their running backs to do. Price has never been asked to do this in college, and now they're going to trust him to block for Sam Darnold to be in this situation when you have George Halane, who did it in the Super Bowl, and Emmanuel Wilson, who's fine in pass protection. Like, no fucking way. There's just no way they're going to ask him to start. That's too much. Maybe he's going to, he worked on his game, but, dude, game speed, NFL game speed is different than practice. It's different than college. There is just it's a three-way committee. Price is going to get work when he's on the field. He's going to get the ball, and that's going to be 7 to 9 touches. And it's going to be 6 to 7 touches for Emmanuel Wilson. It's going to be 5 to 6 touches for Halane. There's 20 touches. This team's going to pass the ball a lot more this year. I see 7 to 9 touches for Price. Now that he could actually do some work with those, but do I want to draft a guy and hope he scores a long touchdown on 10 touches? I don't trust his passing game chops. It's just to say that he is a surefire starter is insane to me. I just don't see it. I don't like the player either. I had him as my 5th rated running back in this class, and it was a bad class in general. So this is I'm planting my flag on this one. I think Price sucks.
No, okay, another Rob. The thing is, I mean, I'd love to kind of go against it, but I mean, I am a little bit against it, but I don't
want to pull this card, but track record of these guys that everyone touts and I fade hard. Like last year it was like 4 to 5, dude. And the previous years it's been pretty good.
It's a hot commodity as of the last couple of years. I feel like everyone that you've been in on, that people have been either in on or you're out on, and then you're in on and people are out on, you're usually right on those. So I kind of got to also listen to you on that. Just a little bit, Rob.
And just, if you guys just knew the show, like I am not the counselor. Like most of these guys just make flag pants on every player. Like I don't do that. I pick and choose. I have usually our pillar players list is 10 players, and that is not always flag plants. Those are my 10 most drafted players. The first 5 are my flag plants, and then the other 5 are the guys I have on 30% of my rosters. And then I am much more picky about players I fade because I'm always of the sorts that any player can be valuable at a certain cost. And I will draft Price. I will draft Hampton. I will draft Hendy. I will draft Ibuka. I was not about Ibuka, the talent coming out, and I was kind of right and wrong at the same time last year. So I'm not going to take that as a W or an L at the proper cost. My fading of players is where they're getting drafted, and that's the disconnect in the fantasy community. Like when I say Price sucks, I don't think he sucks. I think he's a pretty elite running back prospect, but not a first round prospect. Good player. But there's a million good players in the NFL, and it's not enough to force the hand of the Seahawks. And you know what? Nice thing is, in terms of what I'm saying, is that the Seahawks are the Super Bowl champions. They don't need to just force a rookie on the field. They're going to play the best guy. That's why they won the Super Bowl. McDonald's a good coach. They have a great GM. They're a smart organization. If he's not ready to play, they have the luxury to say, hey, guess what? Come in garbage time. And I know that seems like a low probability, but this is not the Titans. This is not the Raiders. Those teams are going to play their first round picks because why the fuck wouldn't they? What are they playing for? They're trying to develop their players. The Seahawks, I don't think, are in the business of developing their players unless they have to. They want to win. And if starting a rookie running back, that's not going to help them win. And I could be wrong. I'm just not a fan of Price, and we got to move on from Price. Tony Pollard and Chuba Hubbard are two guys that are very similar, right? They are the starting running backs. I think Pollard has a murkier situation in terms of potential three-headed committee with Nick Singleton, who I love. I think Nick Singleton's a more talented player than Jadarian Price. If it wasn't for his broken foot and he didn't test at the combine, this dude is mini Saquon Barkley, and I emphasize mini Saquon Barkley. He would have been a second-round pick. Now he didn't do any of the testing stuff. He would have blown the combine up, and also the all-time touchdown leader at Penn State. Oh yeah, Saquon went there. Pretty ironic. Awesome player. I don't think he's going to mix in early on. And then the Chuba Hubbard problem is Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah,
Jonathan Brooks, first-round talent, would have been a first-round pick, but he tore his ACL coming into the league, and then that was why he was a second-round pick. But early season, I am very comfortable in Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a top 15 running back early season, and then he might be an expiring asset. I understand all that, but who do you want, Tony Pollard or Chuba Hubbard?
Oh God. Just because I'm also I'm pretty in on Spears and Singleton, I wouldn't say taking over that backfield, but just more so being a factor. I'm going to go Hubbard here, even though Brooks has been scary and he's been the talk of the town. He's been extremely hyped up, I feel. So, but of those two, I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard.
All right, and we have Stevenson, who is super underrated every year, running back 30. I mean, I understand this is a boring pick. This is like the David Montgomery pick, but there's more obscurity here with Stevenson with the Hendy situation, but tied to a good offense, probably the goal line back. Would you rather have Pollard, Hubbard, or Stevenson?
Honestly, I'm just going to go Stevenson. Of those three, I feel like he could be almost technically the boring play. But it would be hard for, Henderson to, blow things out of the water, in my opinion. Because, he technically did that last year when Stevenson was hurt, and it was still Stevenson's job. I could definitely see that happening again this year, and I just think Stevenson's going to have that more confirmed of a role than the other guys.
Jonathan, thank you for the $5 holler, dude. I have a blind rookie running back case study I want you guys to do. I'll post them both in the chat. I want you to guess. Want you guys to guess who they are and where they were drafted. I love these kind of games. Let's do it, buddy. While he's doing that and typing that, let's talk about the next couple guys. We have a couple more names to get to, guys, before we log off. We have R.J. Harvey at running back 31, Rico Dowdle at running back 32, and Kenneth Gainwell at running back 33. It's interesting. So we have one guy that's a pass catcher in a three-way committee, potentially with Jonah Coleman. You have Rico Dowdle, who was brought in there to be the 1A or 1B, depending on how you look at it, with Jalen Warren. And then Kenneth Gainwell, who is another number 2, but coming off a 70-plus reception season. That was a lot of Aaron Rodgers stuff for sure. But elite pass catcher, and we have the Bucky Irving questions. Bucky's supposed to be ready for training camp. We have yet to see him practice yet. Pretty concerning how late we are into this off-season stuff. So are you in on R.J. Harvey? Let's start there, and then we'll get to Jonathan's comment.
I mean, I think we've been talking about this earlier in the year. Just know this could be a three-headed monster backfield. I understand if J.K. Dobbins gets hurt, but I feel like that would more go into Coleman's role rather than Harvey's. I don't know if you can also agree in that, little situation scenario. But still, I'm just not in on this kind of group. Gainwell's part of that three-headed backfield, and Dowdle's just never going to be, as long as Warren is still there and not injured, it's going to be almost a 50-50 split.
Yeah, man, but they love Jalen Warren there. They love him there. And I understand why. He was definitely Mike Tomlin's coach's pet. And, I love the story of Jalen Warren. What a fucking little bulldog, man. Good pass catcher, pretty sturdy running back as well. But Rico Dowdle has been downright amazing the last 2 years. And I think there's a chance that Rico Dowdle takes this job. And what that means is not a 70%, opportunity share, but 60%, 60-40 with the goal line work. Now, the goal line work might not be awesome because it's with the fucking old 42-year-old quarterback, potentially almost 43-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. I love Rico Dowdle. Again, this is a better and a half PPR situation, but R.J. Harvey just seems stinky to me. Awesome in his receiving metrics were great last year. Rushing stuff was rough. They love J.K. Dobbins, but he will get hurt. I'm not a Jonah Coleman guy, so I'm kind of staying away from this whole range here. Kenneth Gainwell's a nice floor play, though. Like, he's not going to have 70 receptions this year, but Rashad White's been good there for a while in this pass-catching role. The questions with Bucky, I'm not as worried about Sean Tucker as most. So how would you rank these three guys? Harvey, Dowdle, Gainwell. Full PPR.
I'm going to go Dowdle first, Harvey second, and Gainwell third. I love what I saw with Dowdle last year when he was basically taking that job from Chuba. I don't know if you remember that, but we were talking about him so much on here, and I would just leave it. I loved what I was seeing. I love him more than Harvey, but it's just hard to take Gainwell over a lot of guys just because of the fact that it's going to be that three-headed monster there in Tampa Bay.
All right, let's get to these comments. Let's see. Jonathan's little exercise he has for us. First college stat, running back 1. His broken tackle percentage, 26%. Pass block success rate, 88%. Loaded box success rate, 81%. Outside zone success rate, 67%. Inside zone, 53%. This is Jadarian Price. This is Price for sure. Because Price's stuff is amazing because he didn't play much. He has very limited touches. And he was in the game when the game was over. And it's not like the other team had their backups in. The other team got Jeremiah Loved and were chasing him around and getting beaten up by him the whole game. That when Price came in, it was Tony Pollard and Zeke situation. We saw Tony Pollard have that all-time epic efficient year, and Zeke had the bad efficiency because he was running up the middle and just taking a toll on the defense. Running back 2, broken tackle percentage 26%, which is the same. Loaded box success rate 56%, which is way lower. Outside zone success rate 63, inside zone 40%. This is Jeremiah Love. So you think it'd be the other way around? It's not. So the advanced numbers go to Jadarian Price. Tell me if I'm right. I'm not.
I mean, the fact that if you got that right off the dome, I didn't do as much research as this on any of the rookie running backs. So But if you got that right, I would love to hear what Jonathan has to say, because that would be astonishing. So he said we got one of them correct. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, no, I know who it is now. So I got the first one right. I think the number 2 one, the worst one, that's going to be Nick Singleton. Now I'm thinking about it. It's Nick Singleton, because Nick Singleton was inefficient, and he was actually better as a freshman and a sophomore. This is probably his senior year numbers. Nick Singleton regressed a lot, and Katron Allen is actually better.
Wow, you're wrong.
Oh, okay, I was wrong. Running back 1 is Jonah Coleman. Running back 2 is Love. Wow.
Ooh.
So Jonah Coleman,
it's a negative on Harvey then, I guess.
I have issues with Washington's system, and I know it's a weird comparison to talk about the wide receivers, but like in general, Washington has just, their players have not really translated that well to the pros. But man, I was not a Jonah Coleman guy, but I will say this: Jonah Coleman is pro ready. He is a mauler. He is a better pass catcher than you would think with a guy that size. I comped him to Mark Ingram. I think Mark Ingram's a really good comp for Jonah Coleman, because Mark Ingram is one of those guys that, you know, it wasn't the flashiest dude in the world, wasn't running away from you, but he was actually a really good pass catcher for his size. You know, he was like 5'9", 225. Mark Ingram was compiling catches and doing a lot with the ball in his hands. So I think that's the upside of Jonah Coleman. And the other upside with Jonah Coleman is RJ Harvey might not be very good, and J.K. Dobbins is like right at that breaking point of not even just injury, but like just not being that good anymore. Like how many injuries does it take to like ruin a guy, you know?
A lot. I do like how you use the frame, the breaking point, as in just the guy might be falling off, but also that he really is, his body might just be breaking down at some point. So.
All right, nice exercise. Thank you, Jonathan. Put me on my
thank you, Jonathan.
Game here. I did okay. All right, yeah, 5 more likes, guys. 5 more likes. We have about 10 more minutes in the show. I'm keeping you a little late today, Chaz, but let's talk about a couple more names here. Kyle Monungai, the aforementioned J.K. Dobbins, and then Rachaad White. So a lot of people love Rachaad White, and I understand why. It's an obscure backfield. Like Katron Allen might not factor in. If he doesn't factor in, we're literally looking at Rachaad White and JCM. And JCM, he had 8 touchdowns last year. It was very inconsistent. Everyone loved Bill to start the year. And then, you know, we saw it when Chris Rodriguez took over this job. Chris Rodriguez was out-snapping JCM. And I think Chris Rodriguez is an underrated player, but it's not like this was Saquon Barkley doing that to him. This is Chris Rodriguez. And Rachaad White has handled the load, 300-plus touches his rookie year. He's had like 45 or 50 catches every year of his NFL career. He never gets hurt. Has played with Jaden Daniels at ASU, so he's got, his guy. Do you like Rachaad White this year? Like running back 36, I don't know what the upside is. He takes the job and he gets like a 65% share of this backfield, including the passing down work. And like there's a chance he gets goal line carries. He's going to smash his ADP. Is that if that's the case? The downside is Katron Allen factors in early and gets the short yardage work. JCM is the between the 20s guy, the Bucky Irving we saw last year, like getting 15 touches. And Rachaad White is literally the third down back that plays in turbo packages and plays in passing down situations and mixes in for a series here and there. That's the downside. Which one is it going to be if you had to put your money on it?
I feel like I would just much rather put my money towards Corum, Aaron Jones, or Jonathan Brooks. So I would be on the downside of, Katron Allen comes in and, steals some of the volume there. I would just much rather, as I said, have any of those 3 running backs listed below Rachaad White over him.
Are you in on J.K. Dobbins this year? Because J.K. Dobbins should, Jonah Coleman, we do like him a little bit, but J.K. Dobbins should be the starting running back to start the year. At least the early down guy, 50%, 50-50 split, or let's say if it's 50 for Dobbins, it might be 40 for Harvey and 10 for Coleman. I don't think Coleman's eating the J.K. Dobbins workload. I think Dobbins is going to get what he did last year, 14 touches a game, right, and get the goal line work, and it's a better offense. It should be a better offense with Jalen Waddle.
Should be
next in his third year. This seems pretty free. And it's definitely an early season play because he will wear down and or get hurt. It's just a tale as old as time.
It will happen, yeah.
But if you're in a deep league and you go like 0 RB, or you take a questionable, you take someone that's questionable as your RB2 and you're like, I need someone to, possibly fill in the early part of the season, I think you could do worse than J.K. Dobbins. It just feels like a gross click, right? It's gross. No one's going to be like in your draft. If you're due to offline draft, if you take J.K. Dobbins in the 9th round, no one's gonna be like, dude, great pick, bro. You got Dobbins? Fucking so jealous, dude. No, you know what Dobbins is? He's equivalent of like a girl that's kind of pretty, little chubby, but not fat. But like she gives great head. She's a sweetheart. She makes you breakfast. Like she's like a 6 or a 7, but she's not like someone that people like, dude, you see this girl? Like okay, no, because the 6 or 7, because the other things I mentioned, looks are not just the ranking system, and she's not anything to write home about. But when you get to know her, you're like, yeah, he's got to keep her there, man. If she loses 20 pounds, and she dyes her hair, changes her hairstyle up, and gets braces, she's fucking golden, man. That's J.K. Dobbins.
That's one hell of a way to put it, Rob.
Yeah. All right, so we're into that. Let's get to some comments here before we end the show. I like to end the show just like that. That was
yes, sir. Nice. That was a great way to end it.
Thanks, man. We'll get to the dynasty trade real quick from Dakota.
Yeah, I was about to say Dakota asked.
Let's not forget Rachaad White finished running back for his 2nd year. That was also on the back of like 340 touches, which was insane to get that many touches, right? Like that's not in the range of outcomes. The nice thing is though, he showed that he could hold up. He could hold up to it, which he's been very inefficient in terms of a rusher. But I like Rachaad White. I actually loved him coming out of ASU, and he's kind of disappointed the last couple of years. My most concerning thing last year was when Bucky got hurt. Like once they went to Sean Tucker a little bit, and Sean Tucker had that. Remember that game? It was like 170 and 3 touchdowns. Sean Tucker does this once every year where he just blows up. Like DFS hero right there, Sean Tucker. Like they went away from Rachaad White as early down back. It was a true 50-50 committee. And I think Sean Tucker's a pretty good player. But when you're losing snaps to Sean Tucker, like he is literally just a guy plus. It's not like you lost to like a young up and coming player. That's my concern. We have Dobbins, Charbonnet double. Ooh, now that's a good one right here. Dobbins and Charbonnet is a nice pairing. Yeah, like as your RB2, right? So if you go like hero RB or even zero RB, right? You go with David Montgomery or Bashal Tootin or something like that as your RB1, which would be zero RB because you're waiting for the 5th round. And then you take Dobbins in round 9, and then you take a bunch of handcuffs in between, Dobbins and Charbonnet. Now you got yourself a team. That's how you build a PPR monster. You get Bowers, you take Jaden Daniels, you take 3 stud receivers.
3 studs. And then boom, you're
Dobbins should hold up, a little bit of the season. So nice one from Derek.
Yes, sir.
Would you do something like that? That's ballsy, bro.
That's ballsy, but after going over what we just went over and the thought process behind it, it makes sense. It really does make sense.
Connor says, how much money do we need for a draft? $9, Connor, but you've already given a lot. If you give 5, I'm not making you pay 10, dude. If it's 5 from Connor, we're doing like a kind of how Dakota grades teams. It's like the Dakota grading scale. 5 from Connor with inflation equals 10 because we love Connor. By the way, Connor, I sent you a DM in the Discord. He's in Southern Illinois. He's like by St. Louis. He's coming up for the Cubs game. And really? I told him my house, I can go a little bit closer to him where he's driving. It's only a 30-minute drive out of the way. It goes from 4 hours and 20 minutes to Chicago. It would make it like a 4-hour and 50-minute total round trip, 35 minutes out of the way. And I told him I'd buy him lunch and some beers.
Yes, sir.
Get to see me in person.
Is he gonna get the?
He already has it. He already has a shirt and hat. Yeah, come on. I take care of my guys, dude.
Yes, sir. I know you do. I know you take care of us.
Chaz, tell them what to expect. I know obviously you guys get to know me pretty well, being on here 5 hours a fucking night some of these nights. But what is it like to actually be in my presence? And I'm not trying to say I'm like the coolest person ever, but I'm a character for sure.
It's the most entertaining time you will have ever. That's what
ever?
I'll say. Okay,
what?
not ever. I'll put you down a couple pedestals. Let's just say when I knew I was going into work with Rob on a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday morning, I knew it was going to be a great trip. Or the Saturday and Sundays. Oh gosh, Polish too. I'm just all the memories. It was great.
Well, that was the stretch where I was like coming into work, not like drunk, but like I was drinking every night. So I was like
you
between hungover and drunk, and I would just start drinking mad coffee and like never let myself get hungover. And I'd be singing. It was 6. I'm wide awake because I only slept for 3 hours, and you don't have a chance to get tired when you don't really get in REM sleep. And I'm singing, and I'm just like, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you have so much energy? I'm like, I always have this much energy. At least when I'm around people, I tend to step up to the plate, right? I don't want to be that Debbie Downer in person. And like, especially when you're working with someone, that's the fucking worst, dude. Woj, sorry. We had an old boss that it's like the succubus thing with chicks. He was like the male coworker version in terms of a succubus. He just like sucked the life. It was just like no fun zone. No, you can't listen to music. You listen to a podcast. You're making jokes. That's inappropriate. And I'm like, dude, it's 6:30 in the morning. No one's coming here till 7:30. We have 45 minutes where we can just fucking hang out, and talk and just be. It's 6 in the fucking morning. Chill out. He's like, it's too early for this shit. I'm like, this is how you want to live your life, huh? You want to have no fun, no enjoyment, no nothing? God.
Shoot, I will say over the last couple of years, I think he's gotten a bit better at that. But still, when Dup isn't there, it's a hey, make sure this guy's on with this guy, and it's like we already know, like we probably know better about who to put with who than he does.
Well, the thing is, Woj loves you though. He like loves you, so of course you get the best. He loves us. He hated me. He's like, Rob's annoying. He's a conspiracy theorist. He is insane. I'm like, maybe, man. I don't know. Like,
I love talking to Woj and Dup now. It's been great. They're a lot more.
You're a grizzled veteran now. You've been there a long time. You get some respect.
That is true.
Jonathan says, geez, more entertaining than a threesome,
Chaz.
I
took it back.
Well, hold on. The most entertaining, I know it would suck to be man, female with me, but a threesome with me. That's what you get the entertainment level there. You still get a girl, You might have to worry about me slipping a finger in, Chaz, That would be a great band name. The best band name ever. Slipping a finger in, Chaz. It's like an emo rock band.
I don't know about that.
We all wear sweater vests. And have grease back hair, and we all have like piercings, and wear like Lenny Kravitz style necklaces. That's my new band, Slipping a Finger in Chaz. Can't wait to make this band.
Oh boy, I don't know about that, man. That would be. I don't like that idea.
The first track on the album is called "A Moist Quagmire."
I do like being called Quagmire though.
No, it wasn't calling you when I was saying it is a moist quagmire, So it's a good idea, man.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That is a great idea.
Those are the only kind I have.
I can hear my hair growing. You want some soup?
Call the album Bell and Knot. You're not going to get this reference, Chaz. Chaz is Rob more like Kramer or Barney. You don't even know Kramer?
I do know actually both of those. I've seen clips of Kramer and I've seen clips of Barney. My dad used to watch a lot of Seinfeld. It used to be on, but honestly, it's like a mix. But I feel like he's more like Barney. Would you say that's correct?
I don't know who that is. I don't know who Barney. I know Barney, the big pink dinosaur. I know him.
Yeah, Barney from how like he can be extremely witty with the ladies. I saw that.
Dude, breaking news. Yes, breaking news though. I just found out. We never found out who the actor was inside the Barney suit. This makes a lot of sense. I found it. You ready for this? Here it is. That was the actor. That was him. He's not even an actor, but he there it is. We cracked the code, guys. Barney was played by MJ, not Michael Jordan. There it is. That's pretty funny stuff. That's a good. It was balloon knot. You know what? That image right there. That's exactly what it looks like. I'd never heard it called that before. A balloon knot. Can you picture a balloon knot? What it looks like? What does it look like?
I know what that looks like. Oh yeah. God.
Well, you gotta hope. You gotta hope it looks like a balloon knot.
Don't give me those ideas.
When it looks like something else and it's like wide open, not a good thing. So balloon knot. There we go. Did I say pink? Did I say pink?
He was purple. He was purple.
Yeah. Did I say pink?
Yeah. I don't know.
I get pink and purple like confused all the time, dude. Not that I don't know the color. I say pink when I mean purple and vice versa. It's like a weird Freudian slip for me. I don't get it, but
interesting.
Just like I say Travion Henderson and Jadarian Price, I confuse those two backs because they're both terrible.
They're both the same thing, according to you.
All right, I'm going to get you out of here. You exceeded your 2-hour time limit. Chaz has to go to sleep because look at him. He's got his nice little, what is it, a towel? Is it a bathrobe?
No,
What is that?
it's a blanket. Same thing as last. It's my Notre Dame blanket. I got Notre Dame blanket. Even though I'm not that big of a fan of Notre Dame, I used to be in love with them. But
all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and start a new stream, so I have a 10-minute break to set it up and also let my doggies out. So I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Dynasty comment. Hold up.
Break down the trade.
For that. I think it's really good for Jonathan. We were already talking about this a little bit earlier. I felt like Mouth went all in and then kind of he like hedged his bet a little bit, which we didn't kind of like, especially with what the trade that he made for Derrick Henry and getting a first. It just felt weird. I would love to know what your thoughts on it are. I know you have a pretty unique dynasty brain over there, but in a good way, because your team is actually really good, and I think you're 2 trades away from being an amazing trade. But
we don't need to make any trades. My thoughts are it's a fair trade in a vacuum, but when you add the fact that Mouth is win now, extreme win now right now, and I understand Derrick Henry fits that mold, but so does CeeDee Lamb, and those 2 players will call that a wash. I much want CeeDee Lamb in a PPR. I get that getting the first rounder in a vacuum that makes it a fair trade.
Yeah.
It's a 2028 first, and he's getting it from a good team in Jonathan, who's going to be probably a back 3 pick, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. So almost a second round pick, potentially. A lot can happen in a year and a half. But it doesn't fit what he's doing. Win now, why are you getting a first round pick? Now, if he trades that first round pick, which he probably will, for win now again this year, now I'm going to have a different grade in this trade. So like as is, Jonathan won the trade. Mouth hurt his chances to win this year. Got a first round pick though. If he turns that into a win now player, they could have both won this trade. And that's why I think that there's some hullabaloo in the chat and the comments. You know how people are in trades, man. They get pissed because there's a chance that both teams won this trade and no one wants other teams to get better. That's the thing. I don't give a shit. That's why I have no vetoes in my leagues, dude. Trade all you want. I always feel confident in the teams I draft, the decisions I make. I'm going to win the league. I'm not worried about your team. I'm worried about my team, dude. And if I do what I'm confident in my fantasy ability, track record says that. I'm a pretty confident dude. I'm trying not to be cocky, but confident. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'll win the league. Maybe not. I'm not going to say I have a 50% chance to win every league, but it's not an 8% chance like most people. It's like 20%. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm not going to concern myself with other trades unless they're like tanking. People are in Dynasty is different because there is no tanking. It's obviously encouraged, but in redraft, as long as it's not like collusion, I don't give a shit. I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's trades. It's the NFL. Like sometimes
trades. People have
trades.
Their own opinions, and everyone has their own opinion. I mean, I think I remember texting you. I think I said, like these people, like you make your own decisions for fantasy. Don't let other people make decisions for you and stick by your decision. Like, I don't care if you guys boast a trade I make or shit on a trade I make, because if I made it, that means I for sure wanted to do it. And I've taken a bunch of shit from my friends in other leagues. If I get a little bit shit thrown at me, it is what it is, But I'm in the end, most of my trades are decent or at least okay.
Rocco says known commodity versus unknown. In this trade, I mean, Derrick Henry is a known commodity. CeeDee Lamb's a known commodity. The first round pick's an unknown commodity, and Jalen Coker is kind of an unknown commodity. But again, I prefer the CeeDee Lamb side because I always want to get the best player in the deal. But on the flip side, just to defend the other side of it, like our league is super deep. It is 2 flexes. It is 3 receivers. It is a deep dynasty league. So like, those are the leagues I'm willing to potentially take a 3-for-1, right? When you add the draft pick in. But in a normal 12-teamer with 1 flex, like, you better bet your ass I'm never going to be the team getting the 2 players unless my team is ravaged midseason by injuries. I'm always getting the best player because I can work the waiver wire. I can do other things. I think it's a pretty fair trade. I would prefer Jonathan's side of it. It didn't make a lot of sense for me with Mouth doing that because he's win now mode, right?
Yeah.
But I think he's going to trade that first round pick. I have a big feeling that in the next 5 days or so, I mean, he has obviously almost 2 months before the season starts. He's going to trade that pick.
He's going to trade it.
Then we'll see
before tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah. All right. Great show, man. Great show. We'll see. We did 2 hours, 20 minutes. Last night we did 5 hours. We'll see if I do another 3 hours after this. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty frisky. I'm feeling pretty buzzed, doing my thing. So I'm going to start a new stream, guys, for a best ball draft. So I'll post it in the Discord. and give me 10 minutes to go to the bathroom, take my dogs out, and grab a couple brewskis. Chaz, you're the man. Next week we're wrapping up this 4-part segment next Wednesday with wide receivers. That'll be super juicy. We're probably going to start right away with the wide receivers. Don't get into news or comments because it's going to be a long,
it's going to be a long
time to cover
very,
the top
very
36.
long list. Yep. All right. Thank you guys for watching.
For
I'll see you guys
all the
next
supers.
week.
Thank you to everybody. Chaz, you're the man. You're the GOAT. Don't stop wearing that blanket. You look like an old lady. Love you, man. You're awesome. Imagine how good Chaz is going to be when he's my age. You know, like you're like a prodigy in fantasy. You know, you're a podcast prodigy, man. You're getting better every time you come on, dude.
I try to do and say, you know, what I feel or how I feel in the best way possible, and hopefully it gets across. And I'm trying to make if people want to, you know, give me some advice or whatever, how to be better. I'm all ears, you know.
Yeah,
that's
people
what I'm
love you, man. People love the Chaz. I love the Chaz. We appreciate you. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Just seemed like a good dude. I thought I'd see if you want to grab a beer, that's all.
I'm glad you called.
We get home safe, Pistol.
You got it, Jobin.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
Oh, what'd you say?
I don't know. You nicknamed me Pistol, and I just called you Jobin. It means nothing. I'm drunk. I'm gonna call a cab.
All right, man. You have my number, yeah?
I got you stored in my iPhone.